It's a high, deep drive into left field, and this ball is long gone. Safe, he got under the tag.
Will one hop the wall and it lands for a double.
Want to ride into deep left field, and this ball is gone. Falmouth is going to the Western Division Final.
Good evening and welcome back to Gov Fuller Field. David Korzanowski joined alongside Danny LaRose. Game 14 coming up, and the first that the Commodores will play against the Brewster Whitecaps. Danny, let's first talk about last night. Another tough loss, 3-1 to Orleans.
Yeah, the Doors, they played a pretty well all-around game, except when it comes down to the offense, which arguably is one of the most important parts of the game. Both teams were pretty stagnant on offense. Each had less than about 5 hits or less. Doors with 5, Orleans only with 3. One bad inning from Falmouth pitching. The bullpen kind of imploded on itself with 2 wild pitches and a hit-by-pitch with the bases loaded. That brought home all 3 runs for Orleans. Doors were only able to get 1 against that shutout Orleans bullpen, which is so good, best in the Cape. So it was really, they put themselves in a tough position, couldn't get out of it. The offensive woes with guys on base still continues, and I don't know when it's going to end.
The Commodores have scored 7 runs total in their last 3 games. 1 last night, 3 in a win against Bourne, and then 3 in a loss to the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox. One bright spot has been Zach DeLoach. He's been outstanding. 3 for 3 last night. Katie Florio is with him pregame. Katie? Thank you, Katie and Zach and Danny. As we look forward to tonight, perhaps a pitching matchup that might favor the Bats.
Yeah, you're looking at this matchup, and first of all, for the Commodores, Chris Gonzalez from Stetson, he's made 2 appearances so far, didn't make it out of the 4th inning in either, didn't even make it out of the 3rd against Yarmouth Dennis his last time out. A total of 9 earned runs over just around 6 innings of work on the season. First time through the order, he is lights out. Second time, the offense makes the adjustment. He gets shellacked a little bit. He doesn't make the readjustment. So we'll see if he's finally figured it out. We know he's been working with Coach Landry a lot. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball for Brewster, you got Daniel Harper from the University of Kentucky. His last time out allowed only 2 runs over 3 2/3, but 6 hits to a Hyannis team that has really been struggling. Granted, their bats are pretty good, but again, Harper struggled on the hill. Gonzalez has been struggling on the hill all season. So this might be a real chance for other guys to, make like Zach DeLoach and actually put the ball in play and get on base.
And one thing that might favor the Commodores as well about Harper, he hasn't pitched since June 16th. Yeah. So perhaps that rust might leave some balls over the plate for the Commodores to hit, and hopefully they break out of that offensive slump. We know Jeff Trundy and the Bats are itching for the Commodores to do so. We'll see what happens after this quick break. We'll be back with first pitch. For Danny LaRose, I'm David Korzanowski. We'll see you soon for Game 14.
Hello and welcome inside the press box here at Gov Fuller Field. David Korzanowski joined alongside Danny LaRose. 2 sunny days in a row, 2 home games in a row. It looks like the Commodores finally starting to get into their groove. Danny, a little bit of a different lineup tonight versus Brewster.
Yeah, they need some offense. I mean, plain and simple. Zach DeLoach, Steven Moretta were the only 2 guys who were actually getting hits, getting on base for the Doors last night. So a couple of shakeups as we're seeing Austin Maisel injected back into the lineup. Technically, he leads the team in average at .357, despite having less at-bats than just about everybody else. Langworthy's getting the day off after another rough day at the plate yesterday. Of course, Maisel replacing him. Tyler Ross back over into the lineup, and they're still trying to get him going with no hits. It's kind of a transitional period where you're trying to get the guys who are hot to get in the lineup because you got to win these games. At the same time, a lot of guys don't have a lot of at-bats.
Sure.
You want to get them in the lineup to get them into a groove and see if they can catch some heat.
The Commodores are fielding quite a different lineup from tonight. We'll walk you through that in just a minute. Danny, let's take a little bit of a step back. We're about a quarter of the way through the season, even though we're at the start of July. Commodores at 8-7-1. Commodores at 5-7-1. Brewster at 8-7-1. The Doors just need to try to get some wins going back-to-back because they're 3-7 in their last 10.
Yeah, 3-7 in their last 10, which has taken about 2.5 weeks. So that's kind of part of the story, is that you don't even realize that because there have been so few games played. As of recently, it seems like win, loss, kind of going back and forth after the 3-game losing streak. But you're right. If they can just string some wins together and not get themselves in a hole, then they should be looking fine. Again, it's a short season. You don't have to be the best. Just got to be able to put together some wins, and you'll be sitting pretty.
It's the matchup of fourth-place teams. The Brewster Whitecaps, fourth place in the East Division, despite that winning record. Commodores at fourth in the West. Brewster had a night off last night. They were one of 2 teams who were able to watch the other 4 games from the sidelines. Their last time out was a 5-2 loss against Yarmouth Dennis. Game before that, they beat the Red Sox 7-4. Doors lost last night 3-1 to the Orleans Firebirds, but won 3-0 against Bourne the night before. But really, this is the first matchup between these 2 teams, 1 of 4. And we saw the Commodores win 3 games against the Whitecaps last year.
Yeah, last year's Brewster team was pretty brutal. I mean, after winning the Cape League Championship in 2017, they came back in 2018, and they were down in the dumps for most of the season. They barely squeaked into a playoff spot. This team, very different. They've got a lot of guys who can hit. They've got a lot of guys hovering in the high 200s, low 300s. Just a matter of if their pitching can come together. Eastern Division is very much a powerhouse this season compared to last season when it was, decrepit. So if Brewster can up their pitching a little bit, they'll be fine. Meanwhile, Falmouth, they've got some holes at pitching, as we've mentioned. They've got some holes at hitting, especially hitting with guys on base, as we've mentioned. So Falmouth with a few more question marks than the Whitecaps do. So I'm sure Brewster a little more confident heading into this one.
We'll take you out to the Diamond as we get ready for this game. 5:59 is the local time. On the bump and warming up right now is the lefty from Stetson University, Chris Gonzalez, a 12.78 ERA in just 6 1/3 innings of work. Danny, we talked about it a little bit in the pregame show. He's never gone more than 4 innings, and he really runs into trouble second time through the lineup.
Yeah, talking about it with him personally, he's also dumbfounded by how he can't get through the lineup the second time. He says, the first time I throw the same pitches and they swing right through it. Second time around, the same exact fastball, let's say, then they clock it into center field, and I'm getting tagged for a couple of hits and a couple of runs. So Gonzalez been working with Mike Landry, trying to figure out what the adjustment he needs to make, because, again, these are the best hitters in the country.
Gonzalez from the windup delivers strike number 1 on the outside black to Ryan Bliss. Ryan Bliss playing second base tonight and batting leadoff. He's an Auburn Tiger, followed by Brett Auerbach, the center fielder, and Tyler Gentry, the right fielder. Second pitch fouled off of the plate, so it is a foul ball, 0-2. Rest of the lineup, TJ Collette, 286 hitter in the DH spot, batting cleanup. Marcos Castanon, third base, batting 5th. Gage Workman, the shortstop from Arizona State, batting 6th. Tyler Hardman, batting 7th, playing 1st. Justin Vogt, catching and batting 8th as ball number 1 misses high and away. And rounding out the order is a Texas Tech Red Raider listed as a pitcher but playing left field tonight, Kurt Wilson. The 1-2, spoiled back into the screen.
He's a two-way player at Texas Tech, and boy, do Brewster need outfielders. They, before today, had only 1 outfielder on their entire roster. Just cut one yesterday, so definitely need Wilson to jump in there.
Bliss fouls off another pitch. Bliss, a recent addition to the Brewster Whitecaps as the Auburn Tigers made it to the College World Series. He was the everyday second baseman for Auburn. Had a .281 average this year with 70 hits and 11 doubles. The 1-2 taken low. Umpires tonight, Sam Finn calling the balls and strikes. Mickey Garcia down at first. Michael Hinojosa down on the third base line. Umps wearing that cream top today because the sun is beating down here at Gov Fuller Field. The 2-2 roped into left field. That's a base hit. And Bliss is on with nobody out in the first inning.
I mean, that's a really good pitch by Gonzalez. He went with a breaking ball down in the zone. Looked like it was breaking lower than the knees, and Bliss is able to still go down and get it and just push it into left field. That's what you got to do with 2 strikes, is just take what the pitcher gives you, and he manages to work out a hit. I mean, that's the difference between College World Series Auburn second baseman and, a guy like Chris Gonzalez with Stetson. You get that discrepancy on the Cape, and Bliss gets the better of him this time.
Brett Auerbach rising senior at Alabama, takes ball number 1 high and away. 270 average this year for Auerbach down in Tuscaloosa. He was 8 for his first 20 this summer. So he got off to a hot start, but has since settled down, batting .244 with the Whitecaps. Fouls back the second pitch to even the count 1-1. It's a packed crowd tonight here at Gov Fuller Field. We have Black Dog sponsoring tonight's game, as well as a couple of the local Boy Scout troops in town. Bleachers on the first base side just about full, as 4th of July is a couple days away, and we really see a lot of the vacationers coming down to Cape Cod. Gonzalez from the stretch, looks back, Bliss, and delivers. Here's another single. It one hops to Dunn in center field. First 2 batters for the Whitecaps tag singles against Gonzalez. Nobody out and 2 runners on.
Just a couple of juicy offerings that Gonzalez gave Auerbach, and finally Auerbach shoots it into center field. I mean, that was a fastball knee-high right down the middle. Not too many times that you're going to get that past anybody. Auerbach does exactly what he needs to, and Brewster already working on something. We mentioned how they've got a ton of guys who hit pretty well. Nobody who's hitting like 400 with crazy stats or anything like that, but they've had probably the most well-rounded lineup that we've seen all summer long from any team, and already it's looking like that.
Another righty from Alabama steps in Tyler Gentry. 4 players who are from Tuscaloosa, or play their college ball in Tuscaloosa, I should say, as Gentry takes strike number 1 down the middle. Auerbach, Gentry, Connor Shamblin, a pitcher for the Whitecaps, all heading up to Cape Cod for the summer. Tyler Ross is from Alabama and plays for the Commodores, so perhaps a reunion and a photo after the game as the 0-1 is fouled back, 0-2. And Danny, something that stood out to me in looking at this Brewster team is they don't have a ton of guys who are hitting above 300, right? They don't have any guys who really stand out in that sense, but they have a lot of very solid hitters, mid to high 200s in average. Another pitch fouled back by Gentry, who's batting .229.
And that's exactly, what's going to give Gonzalez trouble, I
Sure.
think, is because already he's let up a couple of singles, and it's easy to get through the bottom of the order when they're all not doing well, but when you've got guys who can get you at pretty much any point and a guy on the mound who lets up a lot of hits, that's just a formula for disaster.
Here's a high pop-up into shallow center field. Dunn is ranging in. He will make the catch for out number 1.
That's a very clutch out, and that's against a red-hot hitter. Coming into tonight, Gentry was 7 for his last 9. That was over the last 3 games. He has been tattooing the ball lately, and Gonzalez gets him to pop up. Both runners have to stay at first and second. Very easily could have resulted in second and third, maybe if it was a little bit deeper, or if he lays down a bunt or something along those lines. Instead, Gonzalez still has the double play in order, still has a chance to keep this game scoreless.
TJ Collette, the first lefty batter that Gonzalez will face. Batting .286 on the summer with 5 extra base hits, 3 of them home runs. Takes an off-speed low and is ahead in the count. Collette plays his ball with the Kentucky Wildcats. Daniel Harper, the starting pitcher tonight for Brewster, is a teammate of Collette's. The 1-0. Same pitch, he brought it up a little bit, about waist high for a strike. Collette ended the year outstanding with Kentucky, was 10 for his last 25. Ball 1 misses, late strike call from Sam Finn, 1-2.
Yeah, those low pitches, I mean, they get called so often. It's almost like you got to break out a golf club to hit half the pitches you see on the Cape, and because the worst part of it is half of them got called strikes.
Again, Sam Finn behind the plate. Gonzalez will take that, though, as he's now ahead in the count 1-2. Long look back to Bliss, who has 4 stolen bases on the year. Swing and a miss, strike 3. He went to that slider 3 times against Collette and gets his first punch out of the night, now 2 down.
Now
Yeah, that last one was money. I mean, that had perfect break to it. He kept it down in the zone. Even if Collette was going to make contact with it, best he would have done was probably maybe, poked a ground ball to the left side, maybe even fouled it, because that thing was so low, breaking so fast, that Collette really had no chance other than to wave at it like he just did there.
Marcos Castanen, rising sophomore at UC Santa Barbara, steps in. Gonzalez has done a great job battling back in this half inning. Allowed singles to Bliss an hour back, but has since forced 2 outs against hitters 3 and 4. Couple looks back to Bliss, and he fires a fastball low and inside. Nice move and block by Taylor Smith behind the plate. We'll take this opportunity to walk you through the defense for the Commodores. A little bit of a mix-up in Jeff Trundy's lineup as Austin Maisel playing out in left, Blake Dunn in center, Zach DeLoach in right. Moretto back at third, Cruz at short, Hayden Cantrell at second, and Jackson Coots at first. Infield playing back by the outfield grass, the 1-0. Slider that stays away, 2-0. Castanen with just 6 hits this summer, but 3 of them are doubles. His best game came 3 nights ago against Yarmouth. Dennis was 2 for 5 with a double and 3 RBIs. Again, the Whitecaps 4th in the East Division, but they have a very solid record at 8-7-1. Gonzalez is going to take a little bit of extra time, step off the mound. Sun beating down on him right now.
This is an important pitch. That's why he's taking his time, because he knows he gets behind early that things can only go wrong, and he wants to make it out of the 3rd, out of the 4th. It's been a long time for him this summer being on the mound, and he's getting tagged for a lot of hits. He's not really making it too deep. This is a real confidence game for him, whether he's going to have a good summer, it almost seems like, or whether it's going to falter like it has been. So this is a pretty big moment in the first inning to just get off on the right foot.
Gonzalez had a 3.40 ERA at Stetson during his sophomore year with a 7-3 record. Has not had the same success on the Cape, the 2-1 outside. Danny, you mentioned how hitters have really gotten a lot of contact against him in each of his outings, both under 4 innings, 2 2/3. His last time out gave up 5 hits. Time before that, a 10-2 loss to Bourne, 3 2/3, gave up 6 hits.
Usually it's the 2nd or 3rd inning it happens. It's never been in the 1st.
The 3-1. Strike number 2 to make it a full count. Castanen did not like the call, and we have the first full count of the night.
Yeah, that pitch was well outside, but Taylor Smith gave it a great frame. Castanen is just going to have to choke up, and he's going to have to swing at those pitches. You really have to adjust when you're a hitter, when you're taking strikes like that. Looks like it's a big strike zone tonight. 2
on, 2 out, full count. Runners going on the pitch. This one skied over by the fans, and it'll get past the fence, actually just in front of it by the Falmouth bullpen, but DeLoach and Coots could not get there. So we'll try again.
It was a really good pitch with 2 strikes. He was going for the outside corner again, kept it a little bit high. Castanen, lucky that it fell foul, but he really could have done some damage with it if he maybe lined it up a little bit better.
Back-to-back singles for hitters 1 and 2. Then a fly out by Gentry and a strikeout to T.J. Collette. So lefty Gonzalez shakes off Taylor Smith once. Then they agree on the pitch. Calling for time is Castanen, and he knows that this is an important pitch as well. So he's taking his time in the box. Castanen from Rialto, California. Runners going again. This one roped into deep left field. Backtracking is Maisel. He'll watch it over the wall. A 3-run blast for Marcus Castanen. And this game is now 3-0 Brewster.
Again, Gonzalez just gives way too good of a pitch to hit. Yeah, it's 3-2. You got to come with something in the strike zone. But he tries to go down and in. Instead leaves it just a tad high, right around a little above the knees. And got to credit Castanen because that wasn't, that wasn't a meatball by any means. Not like it was bell tie, not like it was middle in. But it just caught a little bit too much of the plate, and Castanen made him pay. Guy who didn't really have too many home runs in his spring season, only played in 23 games, hit 2 dingers. Well, he's already off to a good start with that home run. I mean, that was well out of here. A good swing and everything. Can't line it up any better.
Here's a ground ball over to Moretto at third. It's foul. Gage Workman now in the box. First home run of the summer for Marcos Castanen. He was batting .176 entering the evening. Now has 9 RBIs and 4 extra base hits. Gonzalez, 3 runs to his ledger in just the top of the first. Still working quickly against Workman. Strike number 2 on the outside black. Last night we saw a 0-0 ball game until the top of the 6th. Orleans added 3 thanks to some mistakes by the Falmouth pitching. Surely you can point to maybe some things that Gonzalez has done better, but Brewster coming in swinging hot bats, and they do so right at the very outset of this game.
Looked like he nearly got out of the woods, too. I mean,
Yep.
He got 2 strikes after getting first and second, nobody out. Got 2 outs, then 2 strikes, but just couldn't get the job done.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. 2 strikeouts for Gonzalez here in the top of the first, but he still heads back to the dugout, likely disappointed with the outcome of that half inning. 3 runs scored for Brewster on 3 hits, courtesy of a Marcos Castanen 3-run blast on a payoff pitch with 2 outs. We'll be back with the bottom of the first on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
Back here in the bottom of the first inning, Falmouth quickly in a hole to the Brewster Whitecaps. On the mound for the Whitecaps is Daniel Harper, but first we'll take a look at the batting order and the lineup for Jeff Trundy's squad. Danny, we talked about it a little bit at the start of this broadcast, but some changes, particularly with guys like Ross and Maisel and Coots in the lineup.
Right. Well, got Maisel back in at the 9 hole. He's obviously leading the team, the fewest at bats, but he's been getting on base a lot. Coots back in there as well, just shuffling around, pretty much a new guy at first base every single day. And Moretto back in the lineup because he had a great game yesterday. I think he only went 1 for 1 with 3 walks. But listen, they need base runners, and he showed himself that, hey, he's great in the field, we know that, and he's starting to swing a better bat. And also Cruz getting back in the lineup as well. Got a day off yesterday because he has been 0 for his last 15, I think it is at this point. Last couple of games, he's been really swinging a poor bat. But back in it, as we mentioned, and hopefully that day off for him, able to reset the gears and come back better tonight.
Yeah, we talked about some of those newer guys or guys who haven't gotten as many starts on the lineup, but the number one thing that stood out to me was Cruz in the 5 spot. That's the lowest we've seen him this summer. And you mentioned his struggles, Danny. 0 for his last 19 at the plate. He was hitting .417 at one point, but since then he has been stifled in the batter's box. We'll see if he finds more success in the 5 spot as Harper, the righty from Kentucky, delivers. First pitch swinging is Hayden Cantrell, blooped into left center field. And a leadoff single for Hayden.
Hayden does that so much from the leadoff position. I feel like I've said it a lot, that the leadoff hitter typically is supposed to take more pitches. He's the one looking for walks. He's getting on base in more ways than just hitting the baseball. And Hayden just says, to heck with all of that.
Right.
And he swings at the first pitch 9 times out of 10. Usually he fouls it away. This time around, he gets it into the outfield. And listen, he does what a leadoff hitter needs to do. He gets on base. So, don't fix things if they're not broken.
Cantrell slides back into first. Clearly they got the scouting report on the leadoff man. 5 for 6 on stolen bases this year. A little more on Harper. His last appearance was on June 16th against Hyannis. He'll check on Cantrell yet again. And in that outing, went 3 2/3, gave up 3 runs, 2 of them earned, 6 hits. His first start of the summer. First appearance of the summer, it was in relief. 3 innings of work against Wareham. Dunn shows bunt, pulls back, takes a ball. So I don't want to speak too soon, but in the pregame show we talked about how this might favor the bats, and so far we've seen 3 hits and 3 runs for Brewster, and in the first at-bat of the game, Cantrell singles. He's going towards second base, throw in, bobbled by Bliss, but it was wide right anyways. The throw from the catcher, Justin Vogt, is offline, and Falmouth has a runner in scoring position with a 2-0 count and nobody out.
I mean, we talk about how Falmouth is so fast. They get great jumps, that they've been able to steal so many bases. But, I mean, I also got to kind of credit the lack of defensive ability from catchers across the Cape. It is shocking how some of these throws get spiked time and time again. Nobody has really shown to have that great of an arm so far.
Blake Dunn takes inside and now has a favorable 3-0 count. 258 hitter on the summer. He started 2 for 14, but since has been finding himself at home in the 2 spot. Was 2 for 3 against Bourne 3 nights ago with 2 runs scored in a 3-0 win out at Durand Park. Harper from the stretch looks back to Cantrell. Kicks and delivers. Ball 4, a 4-pitch walk, and the first 2 base runners for Falmouth, just like those for Brewster, are aboard.
That's exactly what Blake Dunn needs. He leads the team in walks, and it seems like when he's walking, when he's getting on base, it translates to confidence at the plate, and he's able to hit more. You mentioned how he had a couple of hits, scored a run against Bourne a couple nights ago, and then comes out last night, goes 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. He seems to be very hit or miss, but when he gets on base, whatever way it is, a hit, a walk, a hit by pitch, that kind of, gets the ball rolling for him, and it helps his game out in more ways than one.
Zach DeLoach, the 3-hitter playing right field from Texas A&M. Thought about swinging at the first pitch. He'll take a strike. And he has been swinging a hot bat as well, Danny. 3-game hit streak and 5 for his last 10, most notably his performance last night.
Oh, yeah, he was the only guy getting hits. 3 for 3 with a walk. Just a shame that he had nobody on base to do it for.
Scored the only run of the night last night for Falmouth. This one into left field. It'll skip in front of Tyler Gentry. Hayden Cantrell will hold up at third, and the bases are juiced with nobody out. Base runners galore here in inning number 1. Falmouth has a chance to get right back in this game.
I'm not saying anything. How many times have we seen bases loaded and no
That's
hits?
true. That's true.
I'll tell you how many times. 7 times in only the last 4 games. They didn't load the bases last night, but they loaded the bases in 3 straight games before that. Hyannis, then YD, then Bourne. No hits. Only RBIs coming on walks, I believe it was, against Hyannis. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut and just see if the Doors can break that stretch.
Well, Taylor Smith batting cleanup for the first time this summer. This is his 3rd start in Falmouth. He's had hits in both games that he's played, and they've both been extra base hits. He had a double and a home run. 1 RBI on the summer for Taylor Smith. Will be at Grayson County College next year as a sophomore. Played his freshman year at Incarnate Word. Harper delivers a fastball low and outside. Nice block by Vogt behind the plate. Tying run at first, leading run at the plate. We're just in the bottom of the first inning here. We've already seen 5 hits combined for these teams.
Dude, you should buy a lottery ticket tonight. You predicted
Honestly.
this exactly.
Harper settles in the stretch and delivers. Big cut from Smith. He comes up empty, 1-1.
Way late swinging at it. That fastball was practically in the glove by the time he was swinging the bat. So, I mean, with a guy who's got a little bit of a zip to the fastball and who's definitely going to look to try to blow it by you, he's looking for strikeout now. You know it. Smith is going to have to just choke up and don't swing for the fences.
Harper had 42 Ks in his sophomore year at Kentucky in 46 innings of work. He misses outside a 2-1 count. Was a midweek reliever his freshman year, had a 5.51 ERA and a 3-2 record, made 11 starts. In his sophomore year, he came out of the bullpen, 28 appearances, 1 save, and a really good strikeout to walk ratio, 16 walks and 42 strikeouts, the 2-1. High and away.
He's trying to keep everything outside to Smith. I think he assumes Smith might be a pull hitter or just doesn't want to give a right hand or anything on the inside. So he's looking to go outside. Just got to hit the plate. I mean, at this point, you can't put him anywhere. So 3-1, this is a perfect opportunity for Falmouth because can't put him anywhere. This is when you look for that pitch right down the middle and try to do what Constanos did. Did I say that right?
Castanon
Castanon did in the previous inning.
Harper on the far right of the rubber. Delivers, swing and a miss from Taylor Smith. He had the green light on 3-1. And a strikeout here would be huge for Harper.
Well, that was the pitch I was talking about. Fastball at the knees. Got it right over the middle of the plate, but Smith just couldn't come up with it.
Harper wearing those blue cleats. Royal blue, signature of the University of Kentucky. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Late on the fastball again. One out here with the bases loaded in the bottom of the first.
Well, what did we see? 3 strikes, three fastballs, pardon me, that were strikes, all blown by Smith. He swung out all 3 of the fastballs, and he was late on every single one. It was when Harper was trying to go to his breaking stuff, to his slider, stuff like that, and he was trying to get a little too cute, paint the outside corner is when he was missing. So that's the scouting report he's going to have on Smith, and we'll see if he tries to do the same thing against Cruz, who, like Smith, when he's been 0-for, he's been late on just about every pitch.
Harper trying to get into a groove. Cruz swings at the first pitch and fouls it back. This would be a great time for him to bust out of his slump. Batting 5th tonight and playing short, he has 2 extra base hits on the year. A double, a home run, just like the man before him in Taylor Smith. He's got 7 RBIs, though, and a chance to add a couple more. Cantrell on third, Dunn on second, Deloach on first. Ball 1 misses outside.
Wouldn't this be awesome for Cruz to hit a home run? I know that's obviously ideal, and you're not looking for home run, but he's got one from the right side. If he can get one from the left side of the plate, display the switch hitting power, that it's not just one side that he's better on, that would be a real kind of watch out to the rest of the league.
The 1-1 from Harper. Well inside. Cruz gets out of the way, and he's got a hitter's count. Falmouth wearing their home whites with the maroon stirrups with a black stripe right across the middle. Brewster, white pants, navy blue socks, and hat with the white B in the center, and those bright teal jerseys with white lettering. The 2-1 is a high fly ball into right field. Gentry's under it. This should be deep enough for Cantrell to tag. He dashes home. No throw home as Dunn moves over to third. Everyone's safe. And Falmouth has added a run. It's 3-1.
So they do what we have been saying they should have done, all along, is they just get a sacrifice fly, something that is able to bring a run home. We saw a couple games ago when they had bases loaded and nobody out. It was a ground ball double play, not ideal, still brings a run home. So scratching away in any way you can when you're you're just so poor at the plate with runners in scoring position. A sacrifice fly, it's not a grand slam, it's not a double, it's nothing like that, but still it can be a real confidence booster. It can really help you out. Especially in a game where runs are gonna be aplenty.
Steven Moretto now up, batting 176 this summer. He has 4 RBIs. Harper trying to get out of the jam, allowing only 1 run. Swinging at the first pitch is Moretto, and it's fouled over by the basketball court to our right. Falmouth Recreational Center, not too far away. Falmouth Police Department, actually right behind us practically. And I got to think, that's got to be expensive if those foul balls are hitting those police cars. Under it again, back is the first baseman, Hardiman, and he makes a basket catch. Wow. Thought he gave up on the play, but somehow he ends up right there and makes the catch at his waist. Commodores leave 2 runners stranded. They plate 1. It's a 3-1 Brewster advantage heading to the second. We'll be back. Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1994, holds over 1,000 events nationwide for players in both high school and middle school, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, with thousands drafted and more than 500 who have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
So we're on pace to a 27-9 Brewster victory. What do you think?
I don't think it's going to happen.
You don't
Bold
think so?
claim.
We'll see. We'll see. Time will tell on that take. Everyone write that down at home.
David just said he guarantees it. That's
I
ridiculous.
did. I said book it.
He said he
Set
bets
it in
anyone
stone.
who's viewing $100.
Correct. I have that much money for sure. Ball 1 misses outside to Tyler Hardman, first baseman tonight, batting 7th for the Whitecaps. 6 Brewster batters came to the plate in the first. They scored 3 runs thanks to a Castanen 3-run blast into deep left field. 2 balls quickly from Gonzalez to start off this half inning.
This is a guy you got to throw strikes to. He has been awful the last couple of games. 0 for his last 13, no hits in his last 5 games. Another ball misses outside. You don't got to be too scared of him because, again, for Gonzalez, he might be thinking, oh, last inning they really got to me. They were hitting so many of my balls really hard, but again, just throw strikes and trust your stuff.
Gets strike number 1 on the outside part of the plate. Hardman, a rising junior at Oklahoma. He's a California boy as well, grew up in Corona. Foul tipped into the mitt, and now a full count. Gonzalez got 2 strikeouts in the top of that first inning, both of them swinging. But again, 3 runs on 3 hits for the lefty from Stetson. Payoff pitch, spoiled into the screen. Hitter 7, 8, and 9 due up for Brewster in this half inning. Justin Vogt on deck. Kurt Wilson after him. Gonzalez working quickly. Strike 3, got him looking. Hardman was taken off his shin guard instead. He'll take off his elbow guard, grab his bat, flip it, and stroll back to the dugout. Big punch out here for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, that was a great pitch. I mean, it looked like it had some tailing action running into the inside, and it was a great frame by Smith. One that is too close to take. Maybe Hardman had an issue with it being called, but with 2 strikes, got to swing at pitches like that. It seems like these guys haven't gotten the memo.
Vogt swings at a low off-speed pitch from Gonzalez. Vogt catching tonight for the Whitecaps. Batted .220 in his sophomore year at Maryland. Big cut on the second pitch, and he is underneath it. 0-2.
Brewster always has those Big Ten guys. They had a couple
True.
Michigan guys last year. Maryland this year. And we talked about that, I think, a little bit last year where it seems like ACC, Pac-12, SEC kind of spread around really well across the Cape.
Sure.
And Brewster capitalizes on the Big Ten players.
The 1-2 from Gonzalez. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Back-to-back Ks for Gonzalez here in the second inning. And now 4 on the evening.
Chris, with a total role reversal of what we're used to. We're typically seeing from Gonzalez, first inning, second inning, he shoves, and then he runs into trouble the second time through the order. Well, still the first time through the order, it's just the bottom of the lineup. But again, he's let up the 3 runs on the 3 hits, and now he's starting to settle in and look better. And this could be good for the long term for Gonzalez, because maybe he can stretch his outing a little bit further.
First pitch to Wilson is fouled away. Kurt Wilson's first at-bat of the summer, a recent addition from Texas Tech. Swing and a miss from the 9-hitter. He's a 2-way player with the Red Raiders from Arlington, Texas. Went to Arlington High School. And he's listed on the Brewster lineup as a right-handed pitcher. He's playing outfield tonight, and he strikes out on 3 pitches. Talk about a response from Chris Gonzalez. He strikes out the side. After a 3-0 count to Hardiman, he battles back and quickly gets it back to the Falmouth Bats. We'll head to the bottom of the second. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
Seven, 8, and 9 due up for the Commodores as well. Hopefully they have more success than the Brewster bottom third did as they struck out in order. Hardeman looking, Vogt and Wilson swinging. Coots, Ross, and Maisel will come to the plate for the Commodores. Harper delivers a first pitch that's dribbled into right field, found the gap between Bliss and Hardeman, and the leadoff runner is aboard with a single yet again.
I was going to mention it last inning, I should say, when Moretto was at the plate, because he swung at every pitch he saw. It was only 2, but he swung at the first pitch because pretty much every Commodore has been doing that. Cantrell did it, Cruz did it, Moretto did it, now Coots did it. I'm probably missing a couple here, and it's because pretty much every first pitch has been a fastball right down the middle.
Yeah.
Harper is really easy to read right now, and I'm sure everybody in that dugout on the first base side is talking about it. Just swing first pitch.
Tyler Ross does the same. Fouled back into the trees on the third base side. He's 0 for his first 11 to start the summer. Switch hitting player from Alabama. Made a couple appearances on the mound as well. Got a start against YD last Friday night. Pitched 3 innings, gave up 4 innings, gave up 3 runs. Takes ball 1 low and inside.
Mentioned at the outset of the ball game that he's a guy they're putting into the lineup because, Radcliffe has been pretty good at first base. Langworthy has been too, but they want to get Ross's bat going. And this is a chance to. He's only got 11 at-bats on the summer.
The 1-1 from Harper off the plate and foul. 1-2 now the count.
Want to upgrade your view to the best seat in the house? Then head on down to the intern.
Harper will have to battle back here in the second after a leadoff single from Jackson Coots, who is batting .294 entering the evening. Harper, very highly recruited out of high school, was the number 7 player in Kansas, according to Perfect Game. Was a Rawlings Perfect Game honorable mention All-American. That's a mouthful. In 2017. Strike 3, got him looking. Slider that broke inside, and Ross moves to 0 for 12. 1 down here in the second.
That looks really low. That had to have been at the ankles on first glance. We don't have the best angle up here, but that looked really, really low. It's just, again, a wide strike zone that we're seeing. We've seen a lot of the umpires favor the pitchers so far this summer, and Ross has figured that out.
Austin Maisel, left fielder tonight, getting the start. Takes a ball high. His best game was almost 3 weeks ago now. He was 3 for 4 with a run scored against Hyannis, a game that ended in a 9-9 tie. 1 for his last 5. He's only played twice, though, in really the past 10 days. This guy's 1 foul, 1-1.
Yeah, he's only played in 6 games, and we're on game, 12 or 13 at this point?
14 tonight.
Oh, okay, I've lost count.
No,
11 times.
5, 7, and 1. 14.
Okay,
there we go. That took way too long.
Well, with all the rainouts, but regardless, right. Maisel has only played in 6 games. So these other guys can complain that they haven't been playing too much because of the weather. Maisel probably has the biggest gripe. Still reached base in 4 of them, so it hasn't really shaken him too much.
1-1 is low and away. Yeah, here's an interesting stat, Danny. He was cut after, probably 2.5 weeks last year?
Yeah, and it was not a lot of games.
And he had 21 at-bats. He's only had 14 this summer.
Mm-hmm.
So he's stuck around longer, and he's made it into July. Was at Fenway Day, a Massachusetts native, so that must have meant a lot to him as he fouls back the 2-1 and evens the count. But he's still got 7 less at-bats than last summer.
I don't think he's leaving because given the roster, it seems pretty firmly set. The only 2 new guys are a pitcher and a catcher, so there's room for an outfielder. They need his depth as well. He's a good defensive replacement. So there's really no reason to get rid of him. And honestly, if he keeps swinging a good bat, they should put him in the starting lineup more often.
Harper delivers the 2-2. Maisel protects the plate well and stays alive. Refastens the batting gloves, adjusts his helmet, and steps back in. I was going to point out in the bottom of the first inning, but Vogt's gear is extremely flashy because he's a Maryland Terrapin, right?
Yeah.
So he's got the bright red, but then when he turns around with that chest protector, it's the Maryland flag. 2-2, back up the middle, over the outstretched glove of Gage Workman. 6th hit of the summer for Austin Maisel. Puts runners on first and second with 1 out.
Yes, Austin Maisel
There we
getting
go.
the shot and his very first at bat. I mean, you can't draw it up better for Austin. He is having such a great summer after an early exit last year. He's leading the team in batting average. He's got so few at-bats, but he continues to hit really, really well. It's a wonder why he hasn't been in the lineup more often. You've got guys out in the outfield who have been struggling, have been striking out a lot. They're trying to get them going. Maisel has had to ride the bench because of that reason. Finally, they're just like, you know what? The offense needs a jolt, and they go to Maisel. That 9-hole is looking pretty good for Falmouth right now.
How about Coots as well? Similar situation, right? He had hits in his first 5 games. The only game where he did not have a hit was against Bourne. He was 0 for 3. But he had his 6th hit as well in this half inning.
Yeah, Jackson's a singles machine. I mean, he had 1 single in those first 5 games. I always like to say that a hit a day will keep the bench away.
Yeah.
That hasn't been the case for Coots because just, you have these higher pedigree players from higher pedigree programs, so they're going to try to play them more, appease the coaches and whatnot. But Jackson has been just fine.
The 1-0 to Hayden Cantrell. Here's a high, deep drive into right field. Gentry's back. He's tracking. He's at the wall. He reaches up and makes the catch. Maisel sprints back to first. Coots didn't move from second. It's a loud out number 2, and it nearly tied the ball game.
The Doors just cannot catch a break. I mean, as much as they shoot themselves in the foot, whether it was yesterday the pitching, giving up 3 runs that were on wild pitches and hit by pitches, or whether it's today where, for another time around they load up the bases and still can't get a hit, there have been as many times where they have gotten robbed of something, It just seems like they can't catch a break when they've got guys in scoring position, even when they put together great swings like that one.
Cantrell nearly had his 4th home run of the summer. Would have been a 3-run blast. Instead, a nice play by Tyler Gentry, who took a great route to that ball.
Yeah, he had it the whole way.
Might I say, yeah. Tracked extremely well and caught right at the wall. Strike 1 came in at the knees of Blake Dunn. He watches ball number 1 in the dirt.
So say Dunn gets out right here. You look back at this inning, you say, oh my goodness, 2 runners left on base again. What are these guys doing? But Hayden had a double robbed from him. If he had an extra, probably half a foot on it, it would have been over the wall.
Harper trying to get out of another jam. Instead, he'll look back Jackson Coots at second base. If there's one silver lining, though, it's that the Doors have made pretty hard contact so far in this one. 4 hits now for the Commodores. That's more than Brewster. And maybe a couple more robbed from them as the 3rd pitch misses up.
Harper continues to just keep missing over the plate. I mean, these are some juicy pitches. That one to Cantrell was right down Broadway, middle in. He's missing the plate right now because I think he knows that he's leaving too many over. So this is a great opportunity for Falmouth to tag someone real early.
Vogt sets up outside. Dunn takes a big hack, but can't connect. Count even 2-2. 1 pitch away from getting out of this inning is Daniel Harper. Tingles his fingers on his right hand, agrees on a pitch with Vogt. Settles, exhales, looks back to Coots, lifts his left leg, and fires. Foul ball into deep right field. Gentry makes another catch on the run. He makes the last 2 outs of this half inning as that one hung up in the air off the bat of Blake Dunn. And the Doors leave 2 stranded with 2 hits. It's still 3-1 as we head to the 3rd.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu. Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
Top 3 here at Gov Fuller Field. 6:42 local time. Took about 40 minutes for those first 2 innings. Probably about 25-30 for that first inning alone.
Yeah.
Chris Gonzalez back out on the bump after striking out the side in the second. He'll face the top of the order here in the third. Ryan Bliss, chopper over towards Hayden Cantrell, fields it cleanly, takes his time with the throw. 1 down.
If Gonzalez can keep this up, I mean, that would be huge because that first inning was brutal. It looked like it was going to be an early exit. Based off his body language, he was so frustrated. He's been frustrated after his first 2 outings, and you know that after he let up that home run when he was missing the plate, his body language really was against it. He was desperately searching for a good outing and didn't look like he was going to have it. All of a sudden, he's turned that on its head. He's retired the last 5 batters in a row, 3 of them on strikeouts. If he can keep this up, that is such a good sign.
Auerbach briefly showed bunt, but the pitch was well outside, so he pulled back. Singled and scored in the first inning. It was back-to-back singles from Bliss and Auerbach, then 2 outs, and then a 3-run blast off the bat of Marcos Castanon. Strike 1. Gonzalez quickly getting on the mound, trying to pick up that pace, keep the hitters off balance. Fires a fastball. Auerbach fans on the bunt attempt. And it's 1-2. Auerbach, a .244 hitter this summer. Here's another one over towards Jackson Coots. Long run for Gonzalez, but beating it out is Auerbach. A little bit of miscommunication between Coots, Cantrell, and Gonzalez. And there is now a base runner with 1 out. It's ruled a hit.
Yeah, there's really nothing you can do there. He put it into no man's land. Coots got over there. Gonzalez just not quick enough to catch up over to first base. Auerbach showing off some speed for the catcher position. It's like a bloop hit into the outfield, only it was on the infield. So lucky for Auerbach, and Gonzalez, I'm sure, is cursing that hit.
Tyler Gentry flew out to shallow center field his first time up. Swings at the first pitch. Long run for Deloach, but he's going to try to make a play on it. By the fans, does he make the catch? Yes, he does. Behind Franco Aleman, an intern, and a handful of fans out by the Falmouth bullpen, he somehow comes up with it.
Yeah, Franco is right now selling 50-50 raffle tickets, and he has not missed a beat because he is still right back, head down, selling those raffle tickets. That's why they always tell the fans, don't go onto the warning track on the foul territory. Yeah. Don't be near the bullpen. They never listen, and it's still fair play. So Deloach did everything right. He made the catch, probably saved one from getting hit in the head, and also a smart base running by Auerbach for tagging up.
Good catch. Danny moves into scoring position. Deloach had no chance to catch him on the tag up. Here's a line drive right to Cantrell. He comes down on a knee, but makes the catch. Brewster Whitecaps leave 1 stranded. It's Brett Auerbach at second base, but another quick inning for Chris Gonzalez. It's still a 3-1 ball game.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
Gonna hop on. Bottom of inning number 3, Harper adjusts his cap. He's allowed 1 earned run and 4 hits so far in this one. We have hitters 3, 4, and 5 due up in this half inning. Deloach, Smith, and Trey Cruz. Harper, a rising junior with the Kentucky Wildcats. Wildcats finished 7-23 in the SEC this year as he fires a first pitch strike on the outside black. They missed the SEC tournament. And the last weekend of the year, they faced the number 2 team in the country in the Vanderbilt Commodores, who went on to win the national championship. Harper made a couple appearances in that series as he misses low and in. On the Friday night game, he pitched 2/3 of an inning. Gave up 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 1 strikeout. That was a game that ended in a 16-0 loss. Here's a high, deep drive into right field. It will 2-hop off the wall, and Deloach continues his hot streak. He is 5 for his last 5 with a single and a double here in tonight's game.
Unreal. Zach Deloach continues to laser balls into the outfield. None of these have been gifts. No bloop shots, no bunts, no nothing like that. Everything has been well struck. Deloach is really seeing the ball well. He's putting a good swing on just about everything. We saw this earlier where he started off 0-for on the season, had a 4-for-4 game, then went back to 0-for, wondering if he's getting streaky. Well, no, back-to-back games now where he is batting 1,000. So far, so good for Zach Deloach. He continues to rake.
Starting to make a case for one of the best hitters on this team, probably alongside Hayden Cantrell, as Taylor Smith watches a first pitch strike. But going back to Harper, he then pitched again on the Sunday game against Vanderbilt, had a little bit more success, faced just 1 batter, struck him out through 7 pitches, and that was on May 18th. Under a month later, came up to Stony Brook Field in Brewster, Massachusetts, and is now making his 3rd start of the summer here in Falmouth. Second pitch fouled back 0-2. Harper, again a reliever for Kentucky this past year. Most of his outings about 2 innings. Hasn't been a consistent starter since his freshman year. Getting his 2nd start of the summer tonight. He's been pitching from the stretch quite a bit against the Doors. This one plunks Taylor Smith on his shoulder, and he'll take his base. 2 runners aboard, nobody out here in the bottom of the 3rd.
Harper has been so shaky all game long. It's a miracle he has only let up the 1 run, because you look at the scoreboard right now, 1 run on 5 hits for the Doors through only 2 full innings played. We're now in the 3rd, so it really should be more, could be more. He's stranded 5 runners on base in total across those 2 innings. And then a play like that, 0-2, and he hits him right in the back. That is something that you never want to do. He's giving up a lot of hits. He's letting a lot of guys reach base with some gifts. So Harper, he doesn't watch himself. He might have a short leash because damage might be done.
Fastball, ball 1 to Trey Cruz, who had a sacrifice fly out to right field, which scored his buddy, his middle infield partner, Hayden Cantrell, from 3rd. That was with the bases loaded and 1 out. He's got a 1-0 count here. Harper delivers. This one back up the gut to center field. It'll hang up in the air for Auerbach in center. Runners stay put, 1 out. That's another lat out. That's good contact.
Yeah, that was great contact. Just stayed a little bit high. I mean, if he lines it up a little bit better, it's a single right back through the middle. Deloach probably scores. If not, he ends up on third base, and it's bases loaded, nobody out. So Cruz really shouldn't hang his head at that. That's a lot better contact than he's been getting most of the past couple of weeks. Shows that he's getting back into his stride that we saw a couple weeks before.
Steven Moreto's first time up. Saw just 2 pitches, swung at both of them. And I thought that second one was going to be a foul ball that would land in no man's land out past the first base line. But making a great play, maybe a lucky play, was Tyler Hardman with a basket catch as ball 1 settles inside to Moreto. Moreto from Cal State Sacramento State as some call it.
As it should be called, Cal State Sacramento. You want to say that every time?
Hey, man, I'm just going by what the school's called, that's all. The 1-0 misses well away, and a hitter's count for Moreto. He batted .216 this past year. Did strike out 74 times, though. That's a number he has been trying to limit this summer. From Coquitlam, British Columbia, celebrated Canada Day yesterday, in case you weren't listening to our broadcast. Tony Bianco is slamming her head against the wall as we kind of beat that storyline into the ground.
There's not a lot that she likes that, when you do that, when you pester her.
Oh, when I call her out on the broadcast?
No, she doesn't like it that much.
The 2-0 is a strike on the outside part of the plate. I have to give her credit. I have to work her name in. Even if she doesn't want it to be worked in, she deserves credit for what she does, because if I had to spend, as much time with Wirecast, that's our streaming technology, as she had.
That's a favorable word to call technology.
The 2-1. This one skied into center field. Auerbach is under it. He has to move in a little bit more than maybe he thought, thinking about tagging his Deloach, but he'll hold up. 2 down.
Moreto has gotten under those last 2 at-bats. He got under one, pushed it foul along the right side. This one gets way under it. That was a great pitch, just about belt high. Really could have done something with it. Instead, looks like he's, I don't know what it is, kind of a longer swing. Maybe he's trying to swing for the fences a little bit more, but he's getting underneath the baseball. Just has to simplify things.
Commodores have 2 on base right now. They've left 2 stranded in every inning so far tonight. Harper has allowed just the 1 run in the first inning. It was the leadoff man, Hayden Cantrell, who came around to score. 3-1 Brewster lead. Here's a deep drive into right field. Gentry backtracking. He can't make this catch. Coming around to score is Deloach. Brett Becker waves around Taylor Smith. Play at the plate. He misses the ball. Safe and a tie game.
Great play by Jackson Coots. Oh, my goodness. This guy just continues to mash. Swings at the first pitch like he did his first time up. His first time up, he kind of hit a slow one on the ground through a hole. This time, he absolutely tattoos it into right field, like how you mentioned that Gentry. First time he saw a ball towards him, made a leaping catch against the wall. That one just kept carrying, kept going, maybe picked up a little bit of wind and sailed over his head. And also, got to think that Smith probably would have been out at the plate if that ball was caught, but luckily, catcher, I mean, you got to squeeze that. He looks it. He didn't look it into his glove. Vogt tried to slap the tag before he had gotten it. That is textbook, the opposite of what you want to do.
Tyler Ross watches ball 1 low, and all of a sudden a brand new ball game. 3-run home run for Castanen in the first. Commodores claw back. They plate 1 in the first and now 2 here in the third. A 2 RBI double for the first baseman, Jackson Coots. Ross gets a piece of 1, and it's back into the backstop. Throw came in from Bliss to Vogt at the plate. Brett Becker with an aggressive wave to get Taylor Smith home. It would have been a bang-bang play. It was a little bit up the line, but Vogt still couldn't squeeze it as it went off the end of his glove. Here's a blooper into foul territory down the right field line, and another basket catch for Hardiman.
What? You got to be kidding me.
Holy moly, he has made the same catch to end the first and the third innings. This one was even more impressive than his robbery of Steven Moreto. Tyler Ross with a slow walk back to the dugout. Commodores plate 2 here in the third. It's a tie ball game heading to inning number 4.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
One man who's got to be feeling good right now is Chris Gonzalez. Gave up 3 runs in the top of the first inning and a 3-run blast from Marcos Castanen, who will start off the top of the 4th inning. But since Gonzalez has been just about lights out, he has retired 7 of the 8 batters he's faced, and the 1 single was off the bat of Brett Auerbach.
It barely left. It didn't even leave the infield. Barely left the infield grass.
Right. So Gonzalez clearly settling in, and now he's got a brand new ball game. Dribbler back up to Gonzalez. He fields it and throws on to first, but it's a low throw that gets past Jackson Coots. Castanen moves over to second base, and Chris Gonzalez does not help out his own cause. Marcos Castanen has been giving him trouble. He is on second base after reaching on a throwing error from Gonzalez.
I mean, yeah, he's only got himself to blame. He took his sweet time with it. He took longer than he really needed to, and then still comes at first base throwing some sidearm slop. And it's like, dude, just throw it like you normally pitch. I mean, give a lob over to first base. He took his time, so he had to fire it a little bit tougher, a little bit quicker, and then he made it tough on himself by throwing sidearm for whatever reason.
Strike 1 to Gage Workman, who struck out to end the first inning. Workman batting .250 on the summer. Arizona State Sun Devil, who is playing shortstop tonight. He also was with the Whitecaps last summer, batted just .163. Did have 3 home runs, though, and 12 RBIs. Right now he's riding a 5-game hit streak. He's 6 for his last 18, only 1 double, and the rest have been singles. He's a guy who also strikes out a lot, had 14 entering the night and 15 after his first at-bat. Slices 1 foul, 1 and 2. Workman, like a lot of Sun Devils and big bats in the Pac-12, had his best game against Washington State.
Yeah, they were pretty bad.
Yeah, had 2 home runs and 4 RBIs in a matchup in mid-March. And he was on fire to end the year for the Sun Devils, as another one is fouled back behind the fans. He had hits in 17 of his last 23 games, and in 10 of those, he had more than 1 hit. Also was great in the NCAA Regional, was 6 for 13, before the Sun Devils were eventually bounced by the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. The 1-2 fouled away again.
These are some good pitches he's getting from Gonzalez. Gonzalez, I don't like what he's going with on 1-2. 1-2, you usually like to throw down in the dirt or maybe try to ramp it up with a fastball. Instead, he's coming with fastballs that are just about belt high, catching a big part of the plate on the outside half. At the very least, you got to throw it further outside the zone if you want to keep it in that area. These have been too good.
Strike 3, got him looking. Workman didn't like the call. First out here in the 4th inning.
Now that is exactly what he should have been going to the first couple times around. Backdoor slider, paints the outside corner. Fantastic pitch from Chris Gonzalez, and of course Workman's not going to like it because when he saw it, it was in the right-handed or in the left-handed batter's box. But then when it lands over the plate, it's right on the corner.
Tyler Hardman struck out in the top of the 2nd inning. He had a 3-0 count, and then Gonzalez battled back. I think that, Danny, was really the turning point for Gonzalez on the mound tonight because he struggled in the first. He comes out in the second, fires 3 balls, but then is able to battle back in the count and get a looking strikeout.
Yeah.
Then strikes out the next 2 batters, and he's been just about flawless since.
Again, it's kind of a confidence boost. The first inning, he really was down on himself. Second inning, he gets those strikeouts, and he's been looking sharp.
0-1 slider that gives Smith a little bit of trouble. He keeps it in front of him, and Castanen stays at second base.
They have been long at bats, though. It's only been, I think, one pitch at bat. That was to start off last inning, a ground ball to second base that Cantrell was able to field. Otherwise, they've gone pretty deep, a lot of 2-ball, a couple 3-ball counts as well. So that's not helping Gonzalez's case if he wants to go far.
Slider that tags the outside black. Looked like it might have been closer to the batter's box on the right side, but Hardiman now has to face a 1-2 count.
That's been a great pitch all night. That's the one he struck out Workman on.
60 pitches on the evening for Gonzalez. 46 for strikes. Now make it 61 pitches and 47 strikes. How about that, Danny? About a 3-to-1 strike-to-ball ratio.
Part of the reason why Brewster has 4 hits. I mean, he was leaving a lot of pitches over the plate in the first inning. He didn't really get himself into difficult situations. It was more Brewster was getting to him.
Has not issued a walk yet tonight. The 1-2. It's poked foul down the third base line. And this is a Falmouth pitching staff that does not walk a lot of batters.
Yeah.
Coming into the night, just 32 free passes on the summer total. If you think about that, it's less than 3 per game.
Right.
And that is, by a wide margin, the lowest walk total by a pitching staff in the Cape League. That's got to be a welcome sign for pitching coach Mike Landry and his staff. Here's the 1-2. Swatted foul.
This has also been the reason why a lot of these counts have gone pretty long. These at-bats have really dug into Gonzalez's pitch count is because the Brewster hitters are as good as they have been all season. They're on a pretty hot stretch right now, and they're fouling away so many 2-strike pitches. I mean, there's not much Gonzalez can go to other than the backdoor slider and pitches upstairs that they continue to nub foul.
1-2. Over towards short. Cruz with a nice play and a beautiful throw. Fielded that on a sharp bounce, but didn't break stride. Now 2 down.
Yeah, that took a quirky hop. He had to go with it on the run. That's really tough to do when your legs are taking you one direction and your glove has to go up with it. But Troy Cruz is as good as anybody at it. Falmouth is so lucky to have Cruz, Cantrell, Kendall, whoever they throw it at shortstop is pretty much perfect every time.
Justin Vogt steps in. He struck out swinging his first time up on just 4 pitches. There's that slider. This time it stays outside. And when looking through rosters on the Cape League, Danny, usually the position that is the shallowest, the least deep, I don't know how to phrase that, but usually they don't have that many at that position is the catcher spot. And Brewster has 6 catchers.
Yep. And
that's absurd.
1 outfielder.
Correct. 1 listed outfielder in Tyler Gentry.
I don't know what what their end game is there, but clearly they've got a lot of 2-way players and additionally a lot of catchers who can play the outfield and infield.
Yeah, so Elric Soler from Tennessee was listed as an outfielder, recently cut, as the 2-1 is a beautiful slider that breaks over the plate to make it 2-2. And tonight, the Whitecaps have Brett Auerbach out in center. He's listed as a catcher. And Kurt Wilson, who's listed as a pitcher, playing in the outfield. Ball number 3 misses a little bit high and a full count.
Yeah, one was really close. Looked like it was just below the letters. Probably most hitters would have swung at it, but Vogt, good eye.
Payoff pitch. Slider too far inside, maybe a little low as well. And that's what they call the announcer's jinx, folks. First walk of the night.
Well, it took a couple of batters. I mean, Chris Gonzalez has been really sharp, throwing a lot of strikes. It hasn't been hurting him. I mentioned how it hurt him in the first inning because Brewster was jumping on everything. This time, he's hitting a lot more corners. He's keeping the ball lower, and he's been getting more strikeouts, been getting more outs. Tries against do the same right there against Vogt by going down in the zone with a slider. We saw Majinski's last night. He did that a lot where he threw it in the dirt and was able to get swinging strikes. Not the same tonight for Gonzalez, at least for that at-bat.
Strike 1 to Kurt Wilson, who also struck out swinging his first time up. Now 6 Ks for Gonzalez through 3 2/3 innings of work. And if he can get this last out, it'll be his longest outing of the summer. Foul tipped into the mitt, high fastball that Wilson couldn't lay off, 0-2.
Have not seen a lot of fastballs from Gonzalez. At least haven't seen a lot of high fastballs. A lot of pitchers on the Cape love to go for their punch-out pitch. Gonzalez, not so much tonight.
0-2, swung on and missed, strike 3. Wilson way late on that fastball, and a big strikeout for Gonzalez. The Whitecaps leave 2 stranded. They have no hits here in the 4th, and still a 3-3 ball game. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning. You're watching the Falmouth Commodores.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1994, holds over 1,000 events nationwide for players in both high school and middle school, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, with thousands drafted and more than 500 who have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Tale of 2 pitchers right now in a 3-3 ball game. Gonzalez, who struggled at the start and has since buckled down, has blanked the Whitecaps in innings 2 through 4. On the other hand, Harper gives up 1 run in the first inning, but allows 2 in the 3rd. Are the Commodores taking advantage, Danny?
Oh, yeah, and he's up to 53 pitches now. Probably his last inning. They've got a couple arms warming up in the bullpen right now. So I think this is a chance where you got to really get to him now. I mean, try to get him for as many hits as you can before they go to the bullpen and you see somebody new who you're going to have to adjust to again.
Commodores with 6 hits already. That's more than they had last night against Orleans. Ball 1 misses to Austin Maisel, who singled his first time up in the 2nd inning, was left stranded. Harper working from the stretch despite nobody on. He misses with the 2nd ball. Austin Maisel, one of 3 Holy Cross Crusaders who came to Falmouth this summer. The other 2 have since departed in Alex Volpe and Chris Rinaldi. Maisel has stuck around, and rightfully so. He now works a 3-0 count and has a perfect, or an even, I should say, 400 average on the summer. That's not bad.
No, that's pretty pretty darn good.
Pretty good last time I checked.
I mean, we keep saying less at-bats, but the fact that he has so few at-bats and he's got so many hits and such sparing play time is impressive in itself.
3-0 is at the knees for a strike. And I know we like to talk about inflated stats and, he hasn't had as many at-bats. Fact is, even with that limited sample size, he's still 400, right? Like you can't spin it any other way. The 3-1 is sliced into foul territory. Long run for Kurt Wilson. He camps under it and makes the catch. It actually would have been a fair ball if he didn't get there. 1 down.
Yeah, for a second I thought it was going to drop and that Maisel was just going to have, some luck today, where he was going to be like, yeah, I'm batting 400, and you know what, the hot stay hot.
Right.
But instead it hangs up just long enough for Wilson to get there in time. How about the speed from Kurt? That was impressive. He's playing pretty far deep in left field.
Again, Wilson listed as a pitcher with these Whitecaps, but getting his first start of the summer out in left field tonight. This is his first game that he's played with the Whitecaps as the Red Raiders made a trip to Omaha just a couple weeks ago. First ball is outside to the leadoff man, Hayden Cantrell, who's 1 for 2 tonight with a run scored. Cantrell entering the evening was 0 for his last 7, and before that was 6 for his previous 9. It's a little bit of a streaky season for Cantrell, who at one point was batting .378 and was the best hitter in the Cape League.
That was 2 games ago.
Crazy.
Where he was doing that. So, yeah, streaky is definitely what he's been struggling with. But, again, few things that he's been struggling with, because when you're streaky and still batting over 300, I'll take that any day of the week.
The 2-0 upstairs. And I should have mentioned that he's 1 for 2, but that out was the hardest hit ball we've seen tonight outside of the Castanen home run. It was a deep fly ball into right field that Gentry made a great play on. Got a 3-0 count now. Takes a fastball right down the middle.
And his swing is just still so good. I mean, we didn't get to see that a lot last year because it looked like his swing was really poor with all the strikeouts that he had. A lot of them swinging strikeouts and some pretty poor pitches. Seeing him at Fenway Day, seeing him during VP, seeing him game in and game out, he's really got it so fluid. Oof.
Strike 2 and a full count, and the similar grimace that my partner just made was also on the face, and I could practically hear it from Hayden Cantrell as he will step back in now with a full count. Harper stares down his catcher, Vogt, settles his glove at the belt, and delivers. This one is a clear ball, and Hayden Cantrell will take his base.
So all's well that ends well. Cantrell gets on base nonetheless. How about Hayden walking a lot more? He only had 1 walk in his first 10 games played, and now he's got 5 walks in his last 4 games played. So Hayden's starting to reach base a lot, and that's exactly what you want for him, because if he's been reaching base, 30% of the time at the plate by swinging, and now he's reaching base even more by walking. So the more he's on base, the more havoc he can wreak, because, I mean, that guy steals galore.
This will do it for Harper. Quick call to the bullpen by head coach Jamie Shevick, who's in his 5th season. Brewster Whitecaps won the CCBL championship with him at the helm back in 2017, just 2 years ago. They'll go to another righty. If you can't tell from my long pause, the number is eluding me right now.
Yeah, that's the issue that we have, is we don't see these teams too often, haven't seen Brewster yet. So when a new guy comes in, you have to see the back of his jersey.
Sean Hunley, it will be. Rising junior at Tennessee. He's from Tennessee as well, grew up in Mount Julian. The righty pitcher who stands at 6'4", weighs in at 220. This is his 3rd appearance of the summer, his most recent coming out at Lowell Park against the Kettleers. And he got a hefty workload in relief, 3 innings of work, 3 earned runs, 4 hits, and a walk in a 6-2 loss to the Kettleers.
And his previous outing was even longer. It was 4 innings of work. He allowed less runs, only 1 earned. Still 3, but 1 earned. 6 hits. So he's another guy who kind of gets hit around quite a bit, just like Harper. So again, another chance for Falmouth to basically be handed this opportunity. Hey, get your bats in order. These are the pitchers you want to do it against. They've got a lot of hits today. Again, still not getting the run support, but it still is the first half of the game. So, I mean, we may be eating those words later on if this thing continues to spiral.
Hunley with a 1-1 record as well, and it's worth noting, Danny, this is his first appearance in relief.
Yeah.
This summer. Other 2 appearances were starts. against Hyannis and against Katuitt. Now he'll go up against the Commodores. And he was a Rawlings Perfect Game honorable mention All-American in high school as well. Had a 2.60 ERA in his sophomore year with the Volunteers. A 4-0 record, 1 save in 45 innings of work.
Yeah, he was arguably their best pitcher.
Yeah. He pitched in the win over Liberty in the tournament on June 2nd. Had 2 2/3 innings of relief. 6 hits allowed, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. He will face Blake Dunn, so you got to think maybe the deal from Shevik was if you allow a base runner, you're getting the hook. Hayden Cantrell reaches by way of the walk and a quick call to the bullpen. Hundley checks on Cantrell at first, who stole back in the first inning. Then came around to score the first run of the game for the Commodores. He's on his way again. Quick pop and throw from Vogt, and it's in the same spot, into center field this time, and Hayden Cantrell will move over to third. It was a 2-hopper that just went over the glove of Ryan Bliss at second base. Now 90 feet away from taking the lead is Hayden Cantrell.
David, forgive me if I'm being too harsh here, but I would be running Jackson Coots and Taylor Smith at this point because Vogt has spiked those two way in the grass. He can't even get it, the full distance over to second base. He has had some pretty awful throws, so why not just keep going and stealing?
The 0-1 is a slider and a strike. 0-2 now the count. Commodores entering the night with the most stolen bases on the year as a Aiden Maldonado bullpen pitch goes off of Troy Clonch.
All right, this is freaky. That happened like 4 times last night.
And heads into the field of play. Yeah, so actually I was talking to Tommy Sheehan, who was standing out behind Ryan Eiley, about 5 feet behind the first base coach for the Commodores as a ball misses outside. And I was like, dude, what were you doing just standing over there? He's like, yeah, well, I was protecting the catcher, the bullpen catcher that is, from any balls in play.
Okay.
And I was also in charge of any balls that were coming into fair territory.
So he had a busy night.
Oh, yeah. The 1-2. High chopper. Infield was playing in. Bliss with a nice throw onto first. Run will score. Commodores take the lead on the ground out from Blake Dunn. It's 4-3.
Hey, doors catch a break. Infield was in with ground ball. They were coming home, but not that ground ball because that was such a high chopper, so slow off the bat. Cantrell wasted no time. Great read from him and Brett Becker over at third base. That was a good job to send him right away, knowing that chopper was going to be too slow to come home with. Bliss, his only play was at first base. Got to give him credit with a very nice throw, like you mentioned, against speedy Blake Dunn. Again, Falmouth catching a break thanks to the slow ground ball.
This is the man they want at the plate to try to keep this inning going. Zach DeLoach, hottest bat on the team right now. 2 for 2 tonight. Single, a double, and a run scored. Was 3 for 3 last night against the Firebirds. And Hundley clearly knows who's up at the plate as he fires 2 balls outside. Doesn't want to give DeLoach anything to hit.
And DeLoach has been pulling the ball a lot, so yeah, definitely keep it outside to him.
Foul ball out of play, 2-1.
Zach DeLoach trying to extend from 5 for his last 5, keep it to 6 for his last 6. Boy, how awesome would that be if he can continue that. He's already working on a 4-game hitting streak as well. There we go.
There it is. Single in between Bliss and Hardiman, and 6 for his last 6 is Zach DeLoach. That average is also creeping up towards 400 for the 3-hitter. He's aboard for the 3rd time tonight, and it's just the 4th inning.
And that's exactly what the Doors need in the heart of the lineup. We were talking about it the last couple of days, just about the last week, is that 4, 5, and 6 for the most part has been brutal for Falmouth. They've been going over. They've been, they've been striking out a lot, and then DeLoach gets inserted to the 4-hole just yesterday. He tears it up. They bump it up to 3 so they can get more at-bats today. He tears it up. He's looking like he's going to be a mainstay in the heart of the order, just getting hit after hit after hit.
Taylor Smith reached his first time up. Here's another stolen base attempt from DeLoach. This one sailed into center. I mean, that one was absolutely airmailed, practically on a hop to Brett Auerbach. And Danny, perhaps Jeff Trundy is listening to you now. 3 stolen bases for the Commodores tonight.
Yeah, Deloach has speed, so it's no surprise that he would try to steal. But with 2 outs, you just took a lead. You got your cleanup hitter at the plate. And you don't want to make the last out at second base, which Deloach has already done once on the season. But again, when you've got this guy behind the plate, I mean, Vogt has not had a good throw out of 3 chances, so you might as well just take off on the first pitch.
1-0 count to Smith. Strike 1 evens the count. So the Commodores entering the night, 23 stolen bases. They're now up to 26. They've only been caught stealing 6 times this year. And a couple of those were actually pickoff moves from the pitcher.
Yeah, the pitchers have thrown out more runners than the catchers.
And he's going to try to steal third. Throw is skipped off of the glove of Castanet, and why not? Make it 4 stolen bases. Vogt is now getting picked on. The scouting report is well out.
Yeah, and that's going to keep happening as long as the game stays close. Vogt with a much better throw than his previous 3 to third base. Obviously, it's a quicker throw, and I don't even think he would have had a chance at Deloach. He was there in a hurry, but it would have been much closer if he didn't just skip it at the last second. It looked like he was gripping it too tight, definitely trying to throw it more accurately.
Smith watches a ball low and away, 3-1. Smith walked his last time up. He was actually hit by a pitch and came around to score the tying run of the ball game on a 2 RBI double from Jackson Coots. Hundley kicks and delivers. Green light comes up empty. Full count.
Smith has seen some great pitches. He's swung at all of them. Can't fault his eye. He just hasn't been able to connect on any of them. I mean, that's, I think to my count, 4, maybe 5 swings and misses against him.
Payoff pitch. Smith gets under it, and it'll make for a nice souvenir for the crowd on hand here at Gov Fuller Field, hearing some hooting and hollering as that right field line that extends all the way from behind the Falmouth dugout all the way out to the locker room out in deep right field.
It's packed.
It is packed. 4th of July week here on Cape Cod. Another payoff pitch. Upstairs. Ball 4. Runners on the quarters now with 2 down.
That's the inning that won't end for Brewster. I mean, they are doing their best to put away these doors, and then they end up getting, a late hit from Deloach because, of course, why not? Then walking Taylor Smith. Deloach is going to run on you. It seems like everything is kind of falling into the door's direction, and it's just a matter of can they get that big hit that will maybe bust this one open.
Well, Trey Cruz would not refuse that. Had an RBI on a sac fly in the first inning. Would like a second RBI right here. First pitch. Nice pitch from Hundley on the outside part of the plate. Zach Deloach stands on third base. He reached on a single, stole 2 bases. Taylor Smith at first with a walk. 7 hits now for the Doors. They have a 4-3 lead on Brewster. Here's one that's poked into right field, and Gentry can't get there in time. Deloach taps home. It's an RBI single for Trey Cruz and a 5-3 lead for Falmouth.
Exactly what Trey Cruz needed, because he now snaps his offer that was climbing and climbing. We know that the last time that he got a day off, he responded by just tearing the cover off the ball, went on his hottest streak of the season. This time gets a day off yesterday. He's already got 2 RBIs, now has a hit, and things keep on rolling here in the 4th for Falmouth.
Longest half inning for either side, as Steven Moretto is the 7th Commodore to come up to the plate in this half inning. Still 2 down. And strike 1 to Moretto. How about this too, Danny? Even with 2 outs, Commodores still swinging aggressively, working counts. Zach Deloach with a single, Smith with a walk, and Cruz with a single.
There we go.
Here's one that'll find the gap between Bliss and Hardiman. Waving around Taylor Smith as Brett Becker play at the plate is not in time. It skips over Vogt, whose struggles continue. Second time that Smith has nearly had a play at the plate, and Brett Becker taking advantage of the defensive mistakes for Brewster. It's now 6-3.
I mean, you can't even blame Vogt on that one, because that skipped in the dirt. If he blocks it, that's exactly what he needs to do is block the baseball. Smith is still going to slide in safely, so that's on your fielders. That's on the cutoff man. He's got to deliver a dart. I mean, you only have about 100 feet to throw it. That should be a laser right to the chest. Instead, he spikes it. I mean, Smith was a dead duck. gets to tap the plate with his hand, and Cruz especially gets to advance to third thanks to the poor throw.
Cruz now on third, Moretto now on second. And Danny, I think that's the third, I believe, single that we've seen split the gap between Bliss and Hardiman. I'm not sure why with 2 outs Bliss was shaded so far over towards second base.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Moretto has shown that he can hit both sides of the field. I mean, there's not much sample size that you can take. He's only got about 6 or 7 hits on the season, so you can't assume that he's just going to be a pull hitter.
Here's one cracked into right center field. Auerbach is there, and he makes the catch. A long half inning. The Doors plate 3. That run total is climbing. We're going to keep it here in the broadcast booth for this half inning. Thanks for joining us here on a beautiful Tuesday night. David Korzanowski joined alongside Danny LaRose. And I've been very impressed with the resiliency of Falmouth. They score 1, and then 2 in the third, and then 3 in the fourth.
I mean, I just like that they're swinging early and they're swinging often because we know Harper lets up a lot of hits. I mean, he let up 6 hits in 3 innings his last time out. And then they go to the bullpen, and Hundley, he lets up a lot of hits too. He let up 6 hits in 3 innings his last time out as well. So why not? Swing at the first pitch you get. Swing a lot. That's what they've been doing. We've seen a lot of swings and misses, but we've seen a lot of hits as they're already up to 9 through only 4 innings of work.
And for more on this offensive approach and the success of the Commodores at the plate, we bring in the third member of our broadcast team, Katie Florio. Katie, what do you got?
Thanks, guys. And obviously, Falmouth has been struggling offensively recently. And earlier today, I asked Steven Moretto what adjustments they've made recently. And he said they're trying to keep the ball low and force the defense to make plays. They went down early tonight, but battled back. Jackson Coots ties the game with a double. They score 3 more runs in the 4th inning to take a lead. So we will see if they can keep up the momentum the rest of the game.
Thank you so much, Katie. And I think that's really insightful, Danny, because we saw Moretto do exactly that in the 4th inning. He kept it low, found a gap, and he's trying to force the defense to make plays. 2 errors for Brewster in that half inning.
Yeah, there's 2 things that I take away from that is that it's kind of a see-ball, hit-ball approach. Instead of saying, instead of going super analytical, trying to pull the ball or anything like that, it's kind of the Ted Williams approach of if I see the baseball, I'm just going to try to hit it. And what happens is you find gaps that way. And additionally is the fact that that they're not really trying to swing for the fences. I mean, they're just trying to make contact. And when you make contact, the power will come. I always say that is that you just try to put together a good swing, and the home runs, the doubles will come. Well, that's exactly what Jackson Coots has been doing. He's put together great swings. He's gotten a lot of singles, and then all of a sudden he gets under one, gets enough power behind it to get himself a double. So that's a great mentality to have, is see ball, hit ball, and don't try to do too much with it because you know that, in the back of your head, you're a big enough, strong enough guy that the power will be there.
So Gonzalez, now in line for the win, comes out for his 5th inning of work. And he has been resilient as well. 1-1 count now to start things off to Ryan Bliss, who is leading off for the 3rd inning. He did it in the 1st, led off in the 3rd, and now here in the 5th. 1-2 count. Release point a little bit off on that one as he misses high and away, 2-2. Bliss stands at just 5'9", 165. 2-2 is swatted foul. And he looks like a little guy. He really does.
Yeah.
That helmet looks massive on him.
He doesn't need to be big. I mean, he's a great contact hitter. He had 70 hits this past spring.
Yeah. Here's a deep drive into center field. Dunn is back. He's at the wall, leaping and making the catch. Blake Dunn robs Bliss of an extra base hit here in the top of the 5th. 1 down. Holy moly.
Blake Dunn just continues to impress. I mean, my goodness, that guy is ridiculous. He tracks down just about everything, right center field, left center field, make no matter. That is the toughest catch that you can make. That is as close as to a Rob home run as you can get. It's over his back shoulder, and he's got to make it on the backhand jump. And I don't know. There's just a lot to unpack on that play that you got to ask him about is how ridiculous that track is, how ridiculous that catch is to make. That's such an athletic play. Blake Dunn, so impressive.
2 hopper over to Trey Cruz. He tried to make a highlight reel play as well, but it scoots past his outstretched glove and into center. So a 1-out single for Brett Auerbach with 1 down.
Well, the caveat that I'm now seeing is Bliss got great contact on a pitch that was right down the middle and belt high. And now Auerbach gets on base with a well-struck baseball. It stayed on the ground, but still right back through the middle. He definitely got good wood on it. Is that now Gonzalez, and I think Landry has the same idea, he's starting to get hit pretty well, and that's going to be it for Gonzalez, who has a great outing after really getting roughed up in the first inning. And again, Landry deciding to pull the plug when he sees that his starter is starting to get hit really strongly.
The call will be to Aiden Maldonado, but before we talk about the righty from Illinois, let's talk about the lefty from Stetson, Danny. Outside of that first inning, he then allows only 2 hits, 4 base runners, and strikes out another 4. 6 Ks on the evening, 5 of them swinging. This was the best he's looked, and I think a really great outing for his confidence to bounce back the way he did.
That's the most important thing, is that, he only went 4 1/3, so he statistically wouldn't get a win, but that's a victory in his book because he's walking away with his team leading 6-3, and he's walking away, like you said, if you ignore that first inning, he was perfect. He was scoreless, so he just kind of had to break out of the yips of the first inning. He still had his previous 2 outings in the back of his mind, I'm sure. The body language was showing it. He clearly was putting a lot of pressure on himself. Kind of discarded it after his striking out the side in the second. That could be a turning point on his season, that second inning alone, because he comes back from that, and he was looking so confident afterwards. Chris Gonzalez seems like he's back. He's now in 3 appearances, 1 really good one, so we'll see if that can stay.
What an outing for Gonzalez, who I'm sure is getting a chorus of applause and praise from his buddies in the bullpen. That's got to feel great for him, and hopefully we get to talk to him maybe in one of these future broadcasts. He'll be selling 50-50, I'm sure. I think we're going to get Carmen Majinski up here later in the game, so stay tuned for that. Right now on the mound is Aiden Maldonado, 1-1 record on the summer and a 6.23 ERA. Danny, his last time out was against Yarmouth Dennis, gave up 1 run, but has looked solid since that first outing against Hyannis.
Yeah, coming into his freshman season, he was ranked the number 5 impact freshman in the Big Ten by D1 Baseball. And you know what? He's had a really huge impact on the Commodores despite having only 3 appearances, because he's got a 1-1 record. So he's decided a couple of games. His lone loss coming that last outing, 2 innings of work, allowed the 1 run, 2 hits. It was a 1-run ball game, so he kind of got hurt a little bit by the low scoring on his own side, losing 4-3. Time before that against YD, got the win in inning and 2/3 and was spectacular. 5 batters faced, didn't allow any base runners. So Aiden Maldonado has played a crucial role in a win and in a loss, both against the YD Red Sox. We'll see if he comes into this game and plays a big role. I don't think so with a 6-3 ball game, but hey, you never know. Brewster's got a great offense. Things might slow down for Falmouth. Things could get really dicey. As long as Maldonado is on point, it shouldn't.
Maldonado, a rising sophomore with the Illini out at Illinois. Had a 6.58 ERA his freshman year, 26 innings pitched. And we've talked about it before. If you've been following the team, the one struggle for him is control. 30 walks his freshman year in just 26 innings of work. And when he has been shaky this summer, it's been because he's been a little bit wild. He stands at 6 foot, and sometimes that longer frame can lead to some balls high. Here's a 2-hopper over to Cruz. Beautiful throw onto Cantrell. Onto first. Got him! 6-4-3 double play. Trey Cruz in the hole, and Hayden Cantrell smiling, giving a high five to Aiden Maldonado, and I'm sure Chris Gonzalez is happy about that one as well. It's all doors right now. They have been on fire. Bottom of the 5th coming up.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu.
Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1994, holds over 1,000 events nationwide for players in both high school and middle school, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, with thousands drafted and more than 500 who have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
Hundley out for his first full inning of work. He came in with 1 out in the bottom of the 4th inning and gave up a couple of runs, none of them earned. Harper's final line, 3 1/3 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, 2 walks, 2 Ks. Chris Gonzalez, final line, 4 1/3, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, all in the first inning, 1 walk and 7 Ks.
This is a time for Tyler Ross to get a hit because Chris Gonzalez has a great bounce-back outing, so he's looking better. Austin Maisel continues to hit despite not playing a lot. Steven Moretto has been hitting more. He had a hit yesterday, has a hit today. A lot of guys are starting to get back into the swing of things. They're back on their good foot. Tyler Ross still 0 for, so this is a huge opportunity where everybody else is starting to turn the tide of their seasons. Tyler Ross has the opportunity to do just the same. Even 1 hit could make a world of difference.
6 runs on 9 hits, 1 error for the Commodores, as the 1-2 is fouled back into the screen. 3 runs on 5 hits, 2 errors for the Whitecaps. I don't want to speak too soon, Danny, but I'm feeling Falmouth get a lot of mojo, a lot of enthusiasm, and riding some great momentum right now at a time when they definitely need it. And right like that, Tyler Ross pokes one into the gap. Left center field, he's rounding first. Will come into second with a stand-up double. How about that for your first hit of the summer and the 10th hit of the night for the Doors?
Great swing, nice short stroke, exactly what you want to do with 2 strikes. And he doesn't, like I always say, he doesn't try to do too much with it. He just shoots it right back where it came from, and he finds a gap. And for whatever reason, Hundley, with back-to-back pitches with 2 strikes that catch way too much plate. We saw 1 on 1-2 that Ross fouled back. He caught a big chunk of the outside half of the plate. He was just off of it, just a tad late, fouled it back into the fence. Goes right back to the same pitch for whatever reason. That time Ross had perfect timing on it, and he ends up on second base. So Hundley going to want to go further outside the zone when you're ahead 1-2.
But do you feel that, Danny? Offensive momentum sort of coming into its own.
Helps when there's like a sellout crowd and they're all getting in the game too.
This feels like a team that could really take control and maybe turn at a point in their season. 1 hopper past the glove of Ryan Bliss. And the second hit of the night for Austin Maisel puts runners on the corners with nobody out in the 5th inning.
And these have been rockets. There has been no soft hit. Maybe Jackson Coots' dribbler into the outfield, his first time up, is like the only soft hit. Otherwise, I mean, even the outs have been loud. So both these pitchers, Harper, now Hundley, they have been just getting mashed by the Falmouth bats, and this has been a long time coming for the Doors. 11 hits already through, 4 innings played. This is definitely a breakout game. Should be a bigger score, too.
Running is Maisel. No throw from Vogt, as Hayden Cantrell has 1 ball at the plate.
Smart to not throw that baseball because given the way he's been throwing down to second, I think that Ross is going to run from third the moment he threw it because he's sailed the last couple.
One-0 is in the dirt. Nice block by Vogt. Runners on second and third. Nobody out. Falmouth wants more. They're up 3. They were down 3 after the top of the first inning. Two-0 count to Cantrell, who watches a strike. He has scored 2 runs now. He has 1 hit, 1 long fly out to deep right field, and he reached on an error in the 4th. Hundley from the stretch with 2 runners on. Cantrell tried to square that one up, and he knew that he missed that pitch. Inside fastball that he fouls away.
Yeah, it's really rare where we see Hayden not connect on a pitch that's a mistake. So Hundley gets away with one, and Hayden knew. You're right. He hung that bat over his head. He hung his head as well. That was one that he was looking to put right back into right field into a gap.
Hundley's 2-2. This one cracked down the right field line, and it'll one hop into the bleachers and the first row of fans out there. 3 kids run for it, and the tallest of the 3, who brought his glove, comes up with the ball.
Hayden Cantrell has been sitting on 11 RBIs for a while now. This is a golden opportunity to get 1, if not 2 more. Nobody out. Does have 2 strikes against him, but it's been 11 RBIs for the last couple of games.
Infield's in on the grass. 2-2. Up the middle. Coming around to score is Ross. Maisel holds up at third. Now 12 RBIs on the summer for Cantrell, who is 2 for 3 on the night, and it's 7-3 doors.
The guy is just a beast. I mean, he is a totally different player. He has caught the attention of the Cape League. A lot of players were talking about him at Fenway Day from other teams. They were looking at him, and they were like, oh, that's the guy. That's Hayden Cantrell. And rightfully so, because his swing is so smooth. Everything is so perfect from Hayden. His timing is on point. He has not looked faulty at any point this season. We talk about guys who have been streaky, not really so much Cantrell. There have been stretches where he's gone over, but for the most part, he has been phenomenal.
We'll step aside for the second pitching change here in the bottom of the 5th inning, as Shevik will go to a third pitcher here. It's 7-3 doors.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
The third arm out of the, or on the mound, I should say, for the Brewster Whitecaps is Tyler Fallis, another righty. And Danny, he's in a jam here with nobody down and runners on the corners.
We've talked about it a couple of times that being a reliever is a pretty thankless job because they throw you into the fire like right here. So he's pretty much got to get strikeout or ground ball.
Checking on Maisel is Vogt at third base. Taking second with no throw is Hayden Cantrell, who swipes second base for the 3rd time tonight.
This has become more like a little league or a high school game where when it's 1st and 3rd and you can trust that the fielders aren't that great, so you can run, and that's when the catcher has to check on the runner at 3rd. They try to do some trick plays. It's exactly what Brewster had to do there because they knew Cantrell was going to take it no problem with or without a throw. So instead, Voigt, who was saying, hey, if I throw it down to second, Maisel's probably going to try to come home. Maybe I'll try to catch him sleeping. I like the move.
Fallis goes to Louisiana Tech from Sulphur Springs, Texas. Inside pitch to Blake Dunn. who had an RBI his last time up on a ground out to second base, scored Hayden Cantrell. He was the second out of the fourth inning, but the Doors then added 2 more, thanks to hitters 3 through 6. He watches a strike right down the middle. Hayden Cantrell with a large leap in the air at second base. I think he wanted Blake Dunn to swing on that pitch.
Yeah.
Blake Dunn's been very patient at the plate. Sometimes it's worked to his benefit, as he has drawn a handful of walks this summer. Sometimes it has led him into 2 strike counts and then subsequently a strikeout.
Yeah, it's great that you say that because he leads the team in walks. He also leads the team in strikeouts. So that's exactly what Dunn does. Is he works a lot of deep counts, which is great. Maybe he's an ideal leadoff hitter as well, just like Cantrell is. But again, sometimes it can bite him. Sometimes it really pays off.
Strike 3, got him looking. And that, not to be too harsh, but that is a Blake Dunn at bat if I've ever seen one. He works it full.
Right.
And he's taking a lot of the time.
Yeah,
taking a lot of the time.
I was just about to say, if I were to go through just about every box score from this season and look at his strikeouts that are most on the team, I feel like most of those would be backwards case. I think he watches too many pitches. With 2 strikes, he gets a little too patient, a little too comfortable, and there comes a certain point in your game where you're thinking, I'm striking out looking too much, which is the worst thing that you can do. At least say the pitcher beat me, rather than I didn't even give myself a shot.
Well, one that sticks out in my mind is 1 out and the bases loaded against YD.
Right.
And he didn't swing the bat once, and he struck out.
Yeah, on a pitch that was right down the middle and at the knees.
Sure.
On 3-2. So, I mean, anytime it's that close, it was definitely in the strike zone. So anytime it's that close with 2 strikes, you got to swing, and Dunn just doesn't seem apt to do that.
Well, here's a guy who's been swinging the bat extremely well. It's Zach DeLoach. And for the second straight AB, he has a 2-0 count to work with. 3 hits on the night, 2 singles, a double, and 2 runs scored. Also 2 stolen bases. It's just the 5th inning, and that's practically a final stat line.
Let's make it 7 hits in a row.
You want to do it?
That would be sick.
All right. I'll let him know. Zach, you want to get a hit? That would have been so sick. That would have been so sick. Strike 1 down the middle, 2-1.
I'm thinking if you get up to like 10 hits in a row, he should get like a championship belt like in the WWE.
Yeah. I mean, 6 has got to be what? It's got to be at least a bracelet or something, right?
It's impressive for sure. I mean, it's tough to do that with a metal bat.
Yeah, and on the Cape League, wooden bats against some of the best pitchers in the country. The 2-1. Swung on, fouled back.
Better yet, and I know I sound like a broken record saying this, but for DeLoach specifically, is that they've all been really good contact.
Yeah.
He hasn't been getting cheap hits at all.
DeLoach, a rising junior at Texas A&M, a team that made the NCAA tournament this year. He only batted 181 in his sophomore year with 15 hits. Last summer, he was with the Wisconsin Woodchucks out in the Northwoods League. Batted .323. Vogt sets up inside. This one misses way inside and actually hits him on the arm. DeLoach flicks the bat back towards the dugout and loads the bases with 1 out, and the cleanup man, Taylor Smith, coming to the plate.
Well, that's one way to make sure that Zach DeLoach can't tag you for a couple more runs. Just hit him. And, I mean, this kind of sets up a better situation. They might have thought about just intentionally walking DeLoach the entire way because Taylor Smith sets up the righty-righty matchup. DeLoach, obviously a lefty. You've got the double play in order, so a ground ball will end the inning without a run coming home. And you've got Smith at the plate, so if he does hit a ground ball, he's a lot slower than DeLoach is. He's a catcher, DeLoach with plenty of speed. So this sets it up better for Fallis, but he's got to come through.
Fallis with a 3.94 ERA this past year at Louisiana Tech. Fires a ball downstairs to Smith.
And so far, he's been flawless on the Cape. 2 appearances for 2 innings and 3 1/3 innings, and he hasn't allowed a run.
Righty from the stretch with the bases loaded. Delivers, and it's fouled over towards Brett Becker, the third base coach. It's been interesting watching these 2 guys, Taylor Smith and Brett Becker, tonight, because a couple times Becker has waved Smith around, and there's been a couple close plays at the plate.
He was probably out on both of them.
So far, Smith has tapped home safely both times, thanks to a couple inaccurate throws and maybe a missed squeeze by Vogt, the catcher, the 1-1. slider breaking too far outside.
And that's why I noticed it when he was in the batter's box. That's why it looks like he went into a shower of dirt. Because on his backside, all along his front, I mean, up to his neck practically, he is covered in dirt. And he's also the reason why the right-handed batter's box is non-existent right now. You can't see it.
That's interesting. I didn't even notice that. The 2-1. Cracked down the third base line. It skips up and hits the foot of Austin Maisel. He seems all right.
Well, that's why you stand in foul territory, folks, because if he's standing on the line, he would have been an out. So that's why they always tell the third baseman, or excuse me, the runner at third base, to be standing in foul territory, come close to the grass on foul ground, and then when you're challenging the catcher with a throwback or you're trying to tease the pitcher, that's when you go into fair territory.
A 2-2 count, and this would be a big K for Fallis. Just low.
Yeah, it's one that might be a little too close to take. I've seen that called a couple of times as a strike. I think Smith might have gotten away with one.
Lights slowly turning on here at Gov Fuller Field. Still a baby blue sky with some cloud cover on a beautiful Tuesday night. Thanks for joining us here on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network. Chopper into the Brewster bullpen.
At the very least, he's making Fallis work. So this is going to make him sweat, and the more you foul the ball off, the better chance you have of putting one into play. Taylor Smith trying to act like a cleanup man right now, and boy, do the Doors need a hit with the bases loaded. This is now 9 times. First 8 times around with the bases loaded, they have not gotten a hit.
Here's a high, deep drive into left field. Kurt Wilson can do nothing but watch it go. Grand slam for Taylor Smith. And this game is 11-3.
There you go. There's your hit with the bases loaded. It finally comes after 4 or 5 games, nearly 10 chances, and Taylor Smith comes through again. He now, in 3 games played, has 2 home runs, both of them pretty similar spots, yanks them into left field, and way gone. I mean, that was a meatball right over the heart of the plate inside. Smith is looking fantastic. He looks very comfortable at the dish. Very late addition for the Doors. And I mean, hey, you got to thank GM Chris Fitzgerald, seeing that they have a spot at catcher. He goes to a guy from Incarnate Word. Not many people really may know about him, and he has been fantastic for Falmouth. Now an 11-3 game, like you mentioned, it really could be more because they've had bases loaded a couple times. They've had a couple plays robbed from them, but 11-3, I'm sure they're not complaining.
And Trey Cruz says, my turn. Second straight single for Cruz, and this inning is just dragging on. Still just 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. And right now, 2's the magic number. Second grand slam of the year for the Commodores. The first was off the bat of Hayden Cantrell. Also the second home run of the year for Taylor Smith. His first was a solo shot to that exact same part of the ballpark in a loss to Hyannis. This time, it's a grand slam that makes it an 8-run lead for the Commodores. Trey Cruz taking second base. Vogt with a good throw. Tag, not in time. Best throw we've seen tonight, but the Commodores swipe yet another bag. Everything coming up Falmouth.
Looked a little off speed. Usually we've seen fastballs first pitch, and Fallis this time maybe went with a changeup, so just that little change in speed allowed Cruz to get a little bit of a better jump and be able to swipe the bag. Like you said, finally a good throw, but just under the tag.
1-0 is a slider that breaks way outside, snagged by Vogt to keep Cruz at second base. My scorecard's looking more like a coloring book right now, and also worth noting, DeLoach and Smith have combined for 6 of the 11 runs scored for Falmouth. Meat of the order, stepping up here tonight. Moretto fouls away at 2-0 to make it 2-1.
Hey, it took them a while to step up, but they finally have, and it looks like they're not turning back. I mentioned a couple innings ago how 4, 5, and 6 for multiple games were pretty much going over and striking out a lot. Not this time. 3, 4, 5, 6. Pretty much everybody is hitting, and like we always say, this is one of those games you need. Hitting is contagious. You do it once, you do it again, and you start to get the ball rolling. That's how teams get hot.
2-1 inside. This is now the highest run output that the Commodores have had all season. They've had one game where they scored 9 against Hyannis in a tie. Actually a second as well against Yarmouth Dennis when they won 9-6 in 7 innings. That one clips Moretto's jersey. He heads to first base. And still just one down here in the 5th inning.
I mean, Fallis is withering out there, but there's nobody warming in the pen. I think Brewster is kind of resigned to their fate. We're about halfway through the game. It's 8 runs. Falmouth looks like they have no signs of stopping. So Svetchik not going to the bullpen anytime soon. It's Fallis' jam to get out of. He cleared the bases with a grand slam, and now he's put a couple more guys on.
Folks, it's just the 5th inning as well. I mean, this is the highest run output we've seen and the most hits that the Commodores have had in a game. And it is the bottom of the 5th with 1 out right now. Brewster got shellacked against Wareham about a week ago out at Stony Brook Field. It was an 11-0 win for the Gatemen. This one looking just as ugly right now for the boys in blue right now. Here is a skied fly ball into center field. Auerbach is under it. Cruz is going to tag up. He heads to third base without a throw or a tag. Runners on the corners, 2 down.
Mentioned how Brewster lost 11-0 that one game, but we also keep talking about how their bats have been kind of impressive, how they have a lot of guys on their team who, are batting in the mid-200s or on hit streaks and the like. And I feel like that Brewster has the potential to be like last year's Hyannis team, where they had a negative run differential, but still were second in the Western Division. Because Brewster has a pretty respectable record. I mean, they're 8-7-1, but they've got some losses, 8-2, 11-0 right now, 11-3, but they've still been winning a lot of ball games.
Ross tags his second hit of the inning, his second hit of the season, which scores another run and makes this 12-3.
And both of them have been opposite field. That's fantastic from Tyler Ross. He's finally swinging a good bat. He's seeing the ball really well. And he's a guy who has been making a lot of contact, just hasn't been getting the breaks, because he only had 3 strikeouts, got his 4th tonight, his first time up. But otherwise, he had a lower strikeout count for the amount of at-bats he had. So it was just a matter of really finding the spots, finding the open gaps, and he has.
Maisel gets his second AB of this 5th inning.
Is there a mercy rule? Because, I don't want to speak too soon, but Falmouth shows no signs of stopping, and they're already up 12-3.
This is a team that had scored 7 runs in the previous 3 games. They've scored 6 in this half inning.
Poor Brewster. Tough day to come to Falmouth.
Well, the fans have gotten quite a show. And that run output, again, just keeps climbing. 1 in the 1st, 2 in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th, 6 in the 5th. Maisel chopper down the first base line. Nice play by Ryan Eiley, first base coach.
See how he looked back at the dugout, too? Saying, that's how you field a ground ball. Got to move the feet and get low. Do you keep the same lineup tomorrow?
You got it. You got it, right?
I think so.
1-1 to Maisel. This one's in the gap over at short. Workman with a throw across his body. Maisel beats it out. Bases loaded again for the Doors. 2 down. And an infield hit for Austin Maisel.
Austin Maisel is 3 for 4 and batting well over 400 on the season now. He is a sleeper for an all-star vote.
Whoa. He said it, folks. The 9-hitter, the left fielder, the Holy Cross Crusader, gets Danny's vote for the All-Star game on June 21st.
He continues
July
to mash,
21st.
and he keeps getting on base too. 5 of 7 games played, he's reached base. He
3 hits tonight.
Yeah, he might as well be batting leadoff.
Eden Cantrell might have something to say about that. He's up with the bases loaded. Swings at the first pitch, roped into center field. Auerbach back and tracking and makes the catch. We got to catch our breath, folks. I need some water and some food after this half inning.
It's like
6
an hour
runs,
long.
7 hits, no errors, and the Commodores still leave 3 on base with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 5th inning. 12-3 Falmouth. They've scored 12 runs on 16 hits and 1 error, and we're just about halfway through this ball game, folks. I think my prediction about the runs scored is going to come true.
You're so smart.
27
I'm
runs.
so impressed.
We'll see. We'll be back for the 6th after the break.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
All right, we rested up, folks. We ready to go?
Still a whole half of game to go.
First pitch swinging is TJ Collette. Aiden Maldonado is on the mound for the Commodores. It's 8 o'clock. We've played 5 innings.
I mentioned to you between the innings that yesterday at 8 o'clock in the Orleans game that took about $1:30 to not $1:30, sorry, about 2 hours 30 to play.
Yeah.
In the 8th inning, it was already, or excuse me, at 8 p.m. it was already in the 8th inning.
Right. I don't think the Commodores would have it any other way, as their bats have exploded here against Brewster. First matchup of the year between these two teams, and the Doors look positioned to get a win against the Whitecaps. They will play at home against the Catuit Kettleers tomorrow. We will not be on the video call. It's going to look a little bit different tomorrow. Don't want to speak too soon, but Fox Sports is coming to town. They will have this game televised on some local packages, as this is a single down the first base line for TJ Collette. He thought about rounding towards second, but the big boy at DH holds up.
So if you made it.
You think so?
Yeah. Good throw from Deloach, though.
So getting back to the upcoming schedule, Fox Sports, local package, check your listings. This game will be televised between the Kettleers and the Commodores, and we will not be on that call, unfortunately. We did not get a contract from Fox Sports.
You didn't
not
get
yet.
yours?
Not yet. Danny's ditching me. Danny's upgrading.
Tough look.
And then on July 4th, we'll head out to Lowell Park for a game against the Kettleers. First time that the Commodores will play against Catuit this year, and they'll play in back-to-back games. As the first pitch to Castanen is a ball high. And then after that, we are home on Friday, doubleheader versus Chatham. As this ball is a strike low. Excuse me. 1-1 the count now to Marcus Castanen, who has been a little bit of trouble for the Commodores tonight. He homered in the first, which seems like a distant memory at this point. Put the Brewster Whitecaps up 3-0. Then he reached on an error in the fourth, made it all the way over to third base. Maldonado rears back and delivers outside.
The hits are 16-6.
Yeah.
That's what sticks out to me a lot. Is that Brewster...
Does the 16 hits stick out to you?
But, like, sometimes you see 10, 11, 12 runs. It's because the pitching has been, walking a lot of guys or committing errors. I mean, Brewster has 2 errors, both of them coming on stolen bases because the catcher made poor throws. They haven't made too many mistakes that have really gifted Falmouth too much. Maybe a couple of throws from the outfield on Taylor Smith when he was rounding to score cost them a couple of runs when he should have been out at the plate. But otherwise, it has been Falmouth who has been earning this win.
Maldonado working with a 9-run cushion right now. He came in relief of Gonzalez in the 5th. Strike 3, got him looking. Castanen goes down for the first time tonight. 1 down in the 6th.
All right, so the Kryptonite is down. And things are looking good for Aiden Maldonado after the bounce back from the single. He started missing the plate a lot more. Sometimes when pitchers get a little bit too comfortable, they might start to get hit a little bit more, miss the plate. Maldonado started throwing a lot more balls. We know his control is a main thing that he has to settle down. Responds really, really well after falling behind, though.
Gage Workman swings at the first pitch. Shortstop for the Whitecaps, who has struck out both times he's been up tonight. He's a switch hitter, batting as a lefty in his third AB. Maldonado from the stretch. Fires low and inside, 1-1.
So he's a returner to Brewster, and I feel like this happens so often. We know Logan Davidson for the Falmouth Commodores, 2 summers on the Cape. Both summers didn't have the best average, but he's a top 25 pick because he's just so good in college. Workman, 330 average with Arizona State in 2019, but in 2018 on the Cape, 163 average.
Right.
It's so interesting how that can fluctuate for a lot of the top talent in the country. I mean, you look at Adley Rutschman from 2 years ago with Falmouth. He didn't bat too well. He was right around the Mendoza line, but he's still, the #1 overall pick. Obviously, he's one of the best players. So Gage Workman kind of has that bug biting him right now, too.
Foul ball goes back into the gear of Taylor Smith. And how about another Arizona State Sun Devil who was on the Whitecaps last year? Didn't impress with average too much. Had a 233 average. Talking about Hunter Bishop.
Yeah.
Pick number 10 in the 2019 draft. And last summer he was here on the Cape. He was picked by the Giants. He was the Whitecap who went first. First Whitecap, I should say, to go in the 2019 MLB draft. Zach Thompson went a few picks later at pick 19 to the Cardinals. Strike 3, got him looking. Gage Workman has 3 Ks tonight. Maldonado has 2 this inning. There are 2 down.
Yeah, he's looking like a shell of himself. I mean, he was working on a 5-game hitting streak coming into this ball game. He had upped the average a lot after getting off to such a rocky start. And now he's back down to 3 strikeouts. So things have, totally changed for Workman. The script has flipped, and he's going to have to go back to the drawing board.
Tyler Hardman takes a big hack at the first pitch he sees. 0 for 2 tonight is Hardman. Bottom of the order has really struggled. Hitters 6 through 9 have struck out a whopping 7 times. And they are a combined 0 for 8 with just 1 walk between the 4 of them. The 0-1 from Maldonado. Beautiful slider. 0-2.
That's unhittable. Throw it again right here. The best you could do with that is maybe foul it off.
Maldonado, his 4th appearance of the summer. Trying to strike out 3 batters here in the 6th. Instead, it's taken opposite field on a couple of hops to Zach DeLoach. Collette is going to move over to third base, and it's a 2-out single from Hardiman. Runners on the corners, 2 down.
I don't know what it is with pitchers on the Cape, but they opt for their fastball on 2 strikes so consistently. I mean, I think it's a way to impress the scouts. I think they want to show to the scouts, look at my fastball that has zip. I can throw it with 2 strikes and strike people out, see? And it just kind of is frustrating, like I said, because Maldonado just threw a lights-out slider, perfectly paints the outside corner. Yeah, you don't want to become too reliant on it and have Brewster get used to it and maybe line it up. But again, after you had just basically buckled the knees of Hardman, why go to a fastball at the knees? At the very least, go way upstairs with it. But you're probably not going to blow it past him. And after throwing it such a great breaking ball, I would throw it more often. But guys seem very, just not. They just don't want to do that for whatever reason.
There's a fastball that's blown by Justin Vogt to even the count 1-1. Couple of singles to right field for the Whitecaps in this half inning. It was Collette to start things off, and then Hardiman, who took a fastball and poked it into the opposite field. Maldonado, fastball again. It's high and away. Whitecaps staring down one of their largest margins of defeat right now as they're down 9. This one lofted into foul territory by the Falmouth bullpen. Again, they lost by 11 to Wareham. That was their biggest loss of the season. Falmouth's up 9 right now.
Falmouth has some big losses as well. I mean, Bourne 10-2, not pretty. Got beat pretty handily by Hyannis a couple nights ago. So they could use one of these in their win column. Helps out the run differential.
Whitecaps, who snuck into the playoffs last year as the 4th seed in the East, also had their fair share of blowouts last year. And right now, Maldonado keeps the runners stranded at first and third. He strikes out 3 batters. The Whitecaps get 2 hits, but no runs. As we head to the bottom of the 6th, it's still 12-3 in favor of the hometown Commodores.
Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1994, holds over 1,000 events nationwide for players in both high school and middle school, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, with thousands drafted and more than 500 who have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Bottom 6 here, and if the trend continues, Danny, I don't know what kind of equation we got on the runs in the bottom half of these innings, but it's steadily increasing, so Commodore's probably on pace for like 7 or 8 this half inning. What do you think?
Yeah, it's rising at, I don't know what factor. There's a reason I'm a broadcaster and not a statistician or anything in math. There's no pattern yet, so that's what I'm sticking with.
Okay. So with this 9-run lead, the Commodores will start to make some changes. Tim Tawa is going to come in for Blake Dunn. Dunn finishes the night 0 for 3 with a walk, and Tawa takes a ball to start things off. Swings at the second pitch, and it's skied on the infield. Workman's under it. He's under it, and he makes the catch.
Hey, it took the lineup like one time through a couple innings to really get the bats to connect. So Tim Tawa, when he comes up in the 8th, count on it. Still put together a good swing, just got underneath the baseball. I mean, the fact that that ball went so high in the air shows you that Tawa's got some power that we haven't quite seen yet. So can't be too upset. I mean, yeah, you don't want to pop it up. It's less than ideal, but again, showed off some power.
New pitcher on the mound for the Whitecaps as well. It's Peyton Alford from Virginia Tech. Hometown of Knoxville, Tennessee, stands at 6 foot 190. Lefty-lefty matchup to the pinch-hitting Baron Radcliffe, who comes in for Zach DeLoach. Is a strike on the inside part of the plate. DeLoach had another fantastic night, 3 for 3, and was also hit by a pitch, so he reached base 4 times and scored 3 of the 4. Slider breaks outside and can't be squeezed by Vogt, 1-1.
Still has 6 straight hits, so
Ooh,
that's
good
over
catch.
2 games.
Good catch.
He can continue it tomorrow.
Indeed.
He can win the belt.
The 1-1. Broken bat over towards Bliss. He is there. Throws on to first. 2 down.
So Peyton Alford has been a workhorse for Brewster. He's now appearing in his 6th game of the summer. 9 1/3 innings pitched over his previous 5 outings. Furthest he went was 3 2/3. That was against Bourne on June 18th in a very important game. It was a 1-run ball game. Brewster won 4-3. He went 3 2/3, allowed only 1 run on 1 hit. Did walk 3 and strike out 2, but he faced 15 batters and kept Bourne pretty much at bay. His last outing, however, was pretty brutal. It was in that 11-0 loss to Wareham. He allowed 5 runs, 4 hits, didn't strike anybody out, didn't walk anybody, but still, he was blasted by those bats.
Smith with a grand slam his last time up. 2nd home run of the year for the righty. And it made this game, losing count now, it made it 11-3. The 1-1, low and inside, 2-1. So Smith also riding a hit streak and still has not singled this summer. He has 2 home runs and a double as his 3 hits. Swings through the 2-1 pitch and evens the count. Two down, bases clear. It's a welcome sight for Brewster, but they have a long way to go in this one. Firing high and away is Alford. Full count. Alford, a transfer from Walters State Community College, started in the Junior College National Championship game. Lost, but he was named the tournament MVP. 3.45 ERA in 2018. Fires a ball upstairs to Taylor Smith. Late appeal down to Mickey Garcia at first. He did not go around, so a base runner for the Commodores with 2 down in the 6th.
Taylor Smith is looking like such a formidable backstop, and now the Falmouth has 3 catchers. It's going to be interesting to see who they want to start every day. I mean, Troy Clonch is great. Taylor Smith is proving that he's pretty darn good. Maybe not as stout defensively as Troy Clonch. And then they've also got Matt Nelson from Florida State, who had himself a pretty solid freshman year. So it's a very good problem to have, but it's definitely going to be interesting.
Cruz down 0-1. He's singled his last 2 times up. Scored the 12th run of the game in the 5th. Again, the Doors added 6 in this last inning. Second pitch in the dirt, 1-1. Alford from the stretch. Kicks and delivers. High fastball that Cruz can't lay off. He just gets a piece, and it's 1-2. Alford, a rising senior with the Hokies, has spent 1 year down in Blacksburg. Had a 1-5 record despite a 4.19 ERA in 32 2/3 innings of work. Here's one that's lofted into shallow right field. No chance for Bliss or Gentry to make the play. It's a bloop single, and the third straight single for Trey Cruz.
Listen, when you're hot, you're hot. And I mean, the Doors are hot right now. They are just getting everything going for them. This is kind of ridiculous.
17th hit of the night. You think they'll get to 20?
Yeah,
Think so?
I think so.
Yeah.
Got like 4 more innings to do it.
So this Brewster pitching staff has gotten shellacked. 9 of the 12 runs have been earned. Harper, the starter, on hook for the loss. Here's a fly ball to dead center field, and that's exactly how the 5th inning ended as well. Hard contact from Steven Moretto, but the Commodores get 1 hit, no runs, leave 2 stranded as we head to the 7th. Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development, online at www.curry.edu.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
Now batting the left fielder from
7th inning.
University.
Final 3 innings coming up here at Gov Fuller Field. Thanks again for making us a part of your Tuesday night. It's been a fun one for Falmouth. 12-3 is your score. 17-7 in favor of the hometown Commodores. Couple changes as well for the Doors defensively. Tawa comes into center. Radcliffe comes into right. And firing the first pitch past the swinging Kurt Wilson is Sean Mullen, who is out for his 3rd appearance of the summer.
Kind of surprised that he's getting an appearance because he's been one of the more lockdown arms out of the bullpen, and they're throwing him into pretty much a blowout, maybe just to get him some work. But, I mean, I would expect to see him more often in those more competitive games.
0-2. Smith was moving towards third, ready to throw down to Moretto. He thought it was a 3-pitch strikeout. Instead misses just upstairs, says home plate umpire Sean Finn. Mullen from UCLA fires, and this pitch is fouled down the third base line. His last appearance against Yarmouth Dennis, pitched 2 innings, gave up no runs, walked none, and struck out 4. He was great. He and Nick Nastrini, a couple of pitchers from what was a team ranked number 1 for 12 weeks this year out in UCLA. Here's a fly ball into right field. It's going to drop in front of Cantrell, and Radcliffe neither could get there in time. Cantrell's hat flies off, and it's a bloop single for Kurt Wilson, his first hit of the summer after 2 strikeouts.
You know, I know that Falmouth has been getting a lot of gifts this game. You know, a couple of bad throws behind home plate, a couple bad throws into home plate, a couple bloop hits. But, I mean, look at Brewster's hits, and about a quarter of them, if not more. You know, one was an infield single that was a bloop that, you know, he barely beat out, and another one is a bloop into center field, or into right field, pardon me. They have not been getting very much strong contact since the first inning.
Ball 1 misses inside to Ryan Bliss. His last time up was a deep drive into center field and what was maybe the defensive play of the year by Blake Dunn out in center. He's since been subbed by Tim Tawa. That clip just tweeted on our Falmouth Commodores Twitter account. Thanks to social media manager Haley Blitch, Severin Lavenstein, our videographer, who also got a great shot down the third base line of the catch. So be sure to check that out and follow our accounts if you have not already. 2-0 to Bliss. It's a strike, 2-1.
Blake Dunn just continues to amaze. I feel like I've seen the best from him in the field on a certain day, and then the very next day he comes up with another fantastic play.
2-1 is skied in foul territory. Coots, first base by the bullpen, runs out of space. Shout out Ken Fitzgerald. His camera nearly got decked out there. Falmouth Community Television, also in town tonight. Everything's coming up Falmouth right now. I mean, this is a great game, one of the best home games of the year.
This was
Beautiful night, big crowd.
Going to be one of the biggest crowds tonight and tomorrow night. Going to be the two biggest crowds, I think, on the summer. Tomorrow night, of course, the World Series trophy is going to be here.
Yes,
so
sir.
All those Sox fans are going to come and try to see that their team has just won for the third time this decade. I guess
Fourth.
I guess if you count
fourth, yeah.
last decade too.
Sure. Bliss watches a ball downstairs, 3-2. You don't seem too excited about that. Are you excited to see the trophy?
I'm stoked to see the
Okay,
trophy.
okay.
I want to get my grubby hands all over.
Right, I was going to say, because I was going to make a Mets joke. I'm sorry. I'll hold off. Mullen pitching from the stretch to Bliss. Nobody down. This one cracked into left field. Barely having to move is Austin Maisel, one down.
Listen, Tyler Ross's mom's Mets are not doing your Red Sox any favors right now. Losing to the Yankees.
True. Yeah. That was a tough weekend.
Mrs. Ross, if you're listening, sorry about the Mets. Doors are doing well. Tyler's doing very well right now. 2 hits, including a double. So, you know what? It's a pretty good night.
Now up at the plate is Brett Auerbach. He watches a slider drop a little bit low. Carmen Bajinski's in the booth. We're going to get him on the mic next half inning. In case you missed the game yesterday, he was outstanding. 5 innings of work, did not allow a hit. Walked just 1. Ball 2 misses low and away. 63 pitches for the righty from South Carolina. And then in the 6th inning, that's where Falmouth ran into a little bit of trouble. Firebirds scored 3. Worcester and Miller later in the game were shut down, but that was the difference. 3-1 was the final score. And Falmouth's offense couldn't get anything going. What a difference a day makes, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to ask Carmen when he got a headset on so he can answer us, but I'm sure he can stew on this one. Do you feel a little bit slighted that they've scored all these runs tonight and not last night? Comes and goes, he says.
It comes and goes. We'll get him on the mic for the rest of that answer. The 2-1. Strike number 2 at the knees to Auerbach. Auerbach has been one of the lone bright spots for Brewster tonight. He's 3 for 3 with 3 singles. Auerbach, a teammate of Tyler Ross down in Tuscaloosa. Played in the West Coast League last summer, making the jump up to the Cape. Watches a ball, and it's a full count. Second straight full count issued by Sean Mullen.
You know, Tyler did mention that to me the other day, the day before the Brewster game that ended up getting rained out when we were supposed to go out to Brewster. He was like, I really don't want that game to be rained out because I'm excited to see some of my teammates. Well, this is pretty much a perfect storm for him because he has something to hold over their head.
Chopper over towards Moretto. He fields it on a run, throws across the diamond in time. Steven Moretto makes the toughest plays at third look routine. 2 down.
Steven Moretto has just been so amazing in the field. I can't remember the last time he's let anything beat him. And those slow rollers are some of the toughest because, like we said, he made the same play yesterday where he's coming in on the line, has to make a throw on the run where his weight is all carrying him towards home plate, and he still delivers a dart. I mean, that's ridiculous.
So one thing I noticed on his route there was he knows exactly what you're talking about, right, where it's a soft ground ball to third base. So he actually moves a little bit to his right so he can get some of that momentum to be carrying him back across the diamond. Impressive nonetheless.
It's a methodical approach. It's clear that he's practiced it.
Clearly. He and Tim Tawa have both played third base. Tawa now out in center. 2 down for Tyler Gentry. Swinging at the first pitch and fouling it is the righty right fielder, also from the University of Alabama. Also, lead runner Kurt Wilson did move over to second base. He's in scoring position. Mullen from the stretch. Kicks and delivers. Skied into right field. Radcliffe has a longer way to go than he might have thought and makes the catch on the run. Leadoff single for Kurt Wilson, but he's left stranded at second base. Hitters 1, 2, and 3 go down in order after him. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network, and after the break, we'll be back with Carmen Majinski.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1994, holds over 1,000 events nationwide for players in both high school and middle school, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, with thousands drafted and more than 500 who have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
Hello and welcome back into the broadcast booth. David Korzanowski, Danny LaRose a couple seats over. In between us, last night's starter Carmen Majinski. You are the second two-time guest here in the booth behind Franco Aleman. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We're going to get this closer to your mouth.
Did you finish second to Franco tonight selling 50-50
I had to. He's unbeatable.
First one to tell the truth.
First one to tell the truth.
Well, I'll walk by people, and then I see them selling to Franco. Like, not even 2 minutes later, I'm like, okay, thanks.
Did you do the thing? My dad was telling me he was here for one of these games, and my last name's Korzanowski, so we're Polish. And
Yeah,
I heard you were doing the thing where you said if anyone can pronounce my last name correctly.
Yeah.
And he was pretty confident, but he couldn't get it either.
Nah, nobody was even close.
Did you do that again tonight?
No, I actually ended up telling one guy, so I thought he'd spoil it. So
Okay.
Kind of had to end that. I might bring it back in a couple weeks or so.
Coots swings and fouls back the first pitch. Still on the mound for the Whitecaps is a guy from Virginia Tech, and I'm blanking on his name.
Peyton Alford.
Thank you very much.
It's blowout coverage.
Exactly. It's also right on the screen, as our producer noticed. Okay, getting back down to business. You were great yesterday. You got like all the interviews after the game.
Yeah.
How do you feel today, looking back on yesterday, and how do you feel physically as well?
Oh, physically, I'm pretty sore. I feel like I got
Yeah.
hit by a train. But mentally, it was confidence booster for sure. I mean, just cruising through those 5 innings felt pretty good. So
This one skied into right field. Gentry is out, and as is Bliss, he makes the catch, 1 down.
You mentioned in between innings that it comes and goes. The runs, they come and they go. Tonight, 12 runs. Last night, you got no runs of run support. You left the game in a 0-0 game. You were throwing a no-hitter. That doesn't frustrate you at all?
no, I mean, it's just when it comes down to it, it's not my job. I mean, these guys are out here. They're the best of the best hitting, so you just trust them to get you the runs, and even when they don't, you're hoping that they're going to next time, and I'm sure they will next time. So
Ross swings and misses at the first pitch. Fastball. He is 2 for his last 2 with a double in the 5th and a single in the 5th as well. Alford delivers, and this one is into center field. Leaping, but can't get there is Gage Workman. So 3 straight hits for Tyler Ross, and he's aboard with 1 down.
Done it from both sides of the plate. Good for
Yeah.
him.
And can you talk about when you're down there in the bullpen or selling 50-50, and you're watching this onslaught offensively, especially after a 3-run deficit in the top of the first, like, what are you thinking, and are you talking to other guys about it? You guys getting rowdy in the bullpen at all?
I mean, most of the time we're just sitting back and cheering on, but
Right.
yeah, 12 spot, you get a little pumped up there in the pen.
So I know that you're here on the Cape because you got to impress those scouts. You're here for your own benefit and everything. And you said to Coach Trundy yesterday that you were feeling a little bit sore. You didn't want to push yourself because you had so much rest. You felt maybe a little bit tight, a little bit sore after only 5 innings. Was something in the back of your mind telling you, I've got a no-hitter going. What if I want to go to the distance? Because you know who else threw a no-hitter on the Cape?
Let's
Chris Sale.
Okay. Well, yeah,
So,
that's a pretty
I mean,
good name.
you could be in good company. Just 4 more innings.
I mean, yeah, just got to take care of yourself physically. I
Right,
mean,
right.
number one. I was still 4 innings away, so. Fun fact, I actually played high school ball with the guy who's playing third right now, Eric Fago.
Is he any good?
Yeah, he's good. He's got some juice.
Defensive substitution for the Whitecaps, Eric Fago in the third base.
There you go.
Thank you, Carmen. You said you played with him?
Yeah, we went to the same high school. We grew up playing ball together, so it was cool to see him today.
Oh, wait, that's something that reminds me. That was Franco Aleman, everybody. Franco told us last night that he told you if you didn't if you let up any hits, he wouldn't talk to you today. So
I don't know if he said that.
congratulations,
but
you got to talk to Franco today.
Yeah, we get a little challenge in between ourselves, so it was fun.
And he was talking as well that you guys are close. You guys talk about pitching a lot. Can you talk about your relationship with him? Because, you know, from an unbiased standpoint, just looking at the stats, you guys have been the 2 best pitchers on this team and some of the best in the Cape League.
I mean, the connection with me and the other guys, too, is really strong with the other
Sure.
pitchers. But with me and Franco, he loves talking baseball, and I love talking baseball. So it's basically you got to tear us apart to make us stop talking about it.
Right.
I mean, we FaceTime all the time, even if away from the field, as if we're not together here enough for 5 or 6 hours a day. But, I mean, we're just talking grips and pitching stuff like that. So it's fun doing it, though. I love it.
That's good to hear. And also good to hear is Austin Maisel. Now 4 for 5 tonight with 4 singles and a run scored.
The machine.
The machine. He came into the night 5 for 14, now moves to 9 for 19.
Did he get hit by a foul ball earlier? Did I see that? Somebody got hit by a foul ball.
Ooh.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think down the third baseline.
Oh, down the third
Yes,
base
yes,
line.
that was him. That was him.
So he really is the machine.
He is the
He's
machine.
wearing them and hitting them.
That was in that 6th run, 5th inning when Maisel was at third. He then came in to score just a couple batters later. We also have another pinch hitter in Austin Langworthy coming up to the plate.
Kevin Kendall.
Oh, Kevin Kendall. Thinking last year. As Langworthy wearing 26 this year. He wore 7 last summer.
Good point.
So Kevin Kendall comes in and watches a ball outside. I want to talk to you a little bit more about the Cape in general. So you've been here a little bit longer than the last time you were on the broadcast. You're living with Deb Brocklebank.
Yep.
One of the intern
yeah.
overseers, coordinators. She heads all of our field interns here. And also with Kathy Yule.
Yep.
Who runs our merchandise shack. Anyone who comes to Gov Fuller Field, you got to meet those 2 women. They're outstanding. What have they been like, and have they showed you around at all?
Haven't got a chance to show me around yet. I mean,
Okay.
we've either been in a rain out or playing every day, as you guys know already. But they've been great, taking care of me at the house. It's been a blast.
The 1-1 is swung on and cut through. And that was something, I can't believe I didn't start with this earlier, but you threw out 2 pitches against Wareham.
Oh, yeah.
And it looked like you had a lot of juice on your fastball. It looked like you were ready to go, and then boom, lightning in center field and thunder. And what's your reaction? Because I could see a little bit of frustration from where we were positioned.
I was pretty pissed off. I think you could tell by me throwing the ball on the ground at about 110 miles an hour. But, I mean, it was out of my control. Not much I could do. So I just completely flushed it and forgot about it.
How do you do that? Like, because if that were me, I'd be brooding on that every day.
You just got to hope you live for the next one, I guess. Just realizing that you're going to get more outings.
Sure.
And, I mean, especially with my foot, I just took it as a positive to say, I'm going to get more rest and get a little bit more away from it. It's going to make me better in the long run.
Strike 3, got him looking. Kendall goes down looking on 5 pitches from Alford, 2 down here in the 7th.
That's still bugging you, your foot?
No. It's
All right.
It's like I never had the surgery is what it's feeling like right now, so I'm happy with that.
All right, well, that's good news.
Yeah, for sure.
2 weeks off will help that. Won't help with the tightness and the fatigue, but
No.
should get through that.
Yeah, normal stuff there.
Right.
A couple Gamecocks on the Whitecaps.
Got Berry Hill and Tringali.
Yep.
Yeah, those are some cool guys.
As swinging is Tim Tawa. He fouls it back. So Barry Hill's a catcher.
He's catcher, utility. I mean, he plays outfield too.
Okay.
So.
Has he ever caught you
I think
before?
He's in the left right now. Maybe. It looks like him. He's a pretty big boy. But yeah, he caught me all in the spring. The second weekend and third weekend I started, he caught. So, I mean, saving his knees definitely out there and left, if that is him. I think it is.
Swing and a miss from Tawa, who's now down 0-2.
How about your slider? Back to the mechanics of everything. Is your slider looked so good last night? And Franco said that he has talked to you about that. And what's that? Being able to talk to another pitcher and work on it and develop it. Does this kind of feel like a training camp of sorts? And when you're throwing it well, you get excited almost for next spring.
Yeah, definitely. I actually just started changing that slider probably a day or two before yesterday night.
Well, don't change it anymore.
No, yeah, it's working.
The 0-2 is swung on and missed. Kendall and Tawa go down by way of the K. Ross and Maisel are left stranded. No runs on 2 hits for the Commodores. Carmen, jeez. Thanks for joining us in the booth. And
thank you, guys.
We'll get you probably a third time up here.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah,
thanks again.
Appreciate it.
See you soon.
Thank you.
We'll be back after the break with the 8th inning.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu. Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
Folks, we're back in the top of the 8th, and that is not a typo on the bottom of your screen. Austin Langworthy.
Oh, yeah.
On the mound for the Commodores. First time in 2 summers that he has towed the rubber, and it's in a 9-run ball game here in the 8th inning.
He does do a lot of pitching at the University of Florida. Had 7 appearances as a freshman, 4 appearances as a sophomore, 7 appearances as a junior this past spring, 3.12 ERA, only 8 2/3 innings of work. Last year, he came to the Cape expecting to be a two-way player, but he was only played in the outfield, maybe 1 or 2 games at first base. This season, he's played right field, pretty sure center and left as well. Definitely played the outfield, played a couple games at first base, and finally getting his shot at the bump. That's pretty awesome.
So he's up 0-2 to start things off to TJ Collette. Collette 1 for 3 on the day, singled in the 6th, made it all the way over to 3rd. This is just such a weird sight right now.
Right.
We're just not used to it. Foul tip on the 0-2 to stay alive.
Again, he didn't pitch at all last summer, and I mean, I don't even know if he wanted to. I think he kind of did a little bit, but he knew that he was there to be mostly a hitter, that he doesn't do too much pitching at Florida anyway. But hey, when it's 12-3, why not give him some reps?
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Pull him now. That would be perfect. That's not bad, striking out the cleanup guy, your first batter you face in 2 summers in Falmouth.
He's one of those crafty lefties where he's got, it's such a slow delivery, a slow pace to it. I mean, Austin Langworthy, of course, he's got a slow, methodical pace to his windup and everything. His pitches don't come in too hot, but he's got a lot of movement on them. He kind of just likes to place them as opposed to fire them in like most other pitchers that you see. Jamie Moyer is the number one that jumps out to you of those slow-throwing left-handers, and hey, he was pretty good. Langworthy looking pretty sharp as well.
This is Eric Fago, who comes in for Marcos Castanon. Castanon finished the day 1 for 3, and the one hit was a 3-run bomb in the 1st inning. Put the Whitecaps up 3-0, and that lead has since dwindled and completely disappeared. Now a 9-run advantage for the Commodores. Fago, a rising junior at Stetson University, so a teammate of Chris Gonzalez's. He connects with the 1-1, and it's fouled out of play. Hometown of Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Just like Carmen.
True. They did play high school ball together, as he just mentioned. Last summer, Eric Fago was with the Martha's Vineyard Sharks. Just a ferry trip away. There's a beautiful curveball just outside.
That might have been an ephus. I mean, that thing was so slow. You heard the hoots and hollering from the dugout. I mean, I know in summer ball that ephus pitch becomes pretty popular. Going to have to ask Austin after the game.
The 2-2. This one obliterated to left field. Back at the wall, leaping, but running out of space is Maisel. It's a solo shot for Eric Fago to make this game 12-4.
Poor Austin Langworthy. Ran through the first batter he sees, and now Fago in his first at-bat of the game coming in as a substitution just last half inning. Gets a juicy fastball right about middle in with 2 strikes. Maybe Austin got a little bit too cocky throwing the ephus pitch and then comes back with one that Fago says, don't make that mistake again.
So the lead down to 8 for the Commodores.
It's getting close.
Langworthy settling back in and delivering a strike to Gage Workman. Workman's had a tough night, 0 for 3 with 3 Ks, 2 of them looking. Came into the night batting .250 with 3 RBIs and a couple doubles, but he has not even reached base tonight. The 0-1. Chopped over towards third base. This is Moretto, takes his time, and a beautiful throw to Jackson Coots. 2 down.
Kind of like Austin on the mound. Brings a different pace. Like I said, he's really effective against lefties, the way he throws the ball, the movement he's got, and how he basically just kind of places his pitches. He could be a lefty specialist if Jeff Trundy were inclined, but you got enough pitchers on your roster where you don't need him to be.
Tyler Hardiman singled his last time up in the 6th, was left stranded on first base. That solo shot for Fago, first run that the Whitecaps have scored since the top of the first inning. Falmouth with an 8-run advantage in their first matchup against Brewster this year. This one sliced into left field. It'll reach Maisel on a couple of hops and a 2-out single for Hardiman.
It's really the first hard contact that Brewster has gotten since the first inning. I mean, they were shut down pretty effectively by Chris Gonzalez. You're pointing at the home run. That's what I meant. This inning. Yeah. Okay. This inning is the first hard contact because you saw the first inning where they put up 3, obviously no runs until this one, and a lot of their hits, bloop hits, infield hits, and the sort.
Chopper down the third base line, foul. Justin Vogt has had a night to forget, 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, but more notably, defensively, he has been picked on by the Commodores, who stole 6 bases. A couple plays at the plate that didn't work out in Brewster's favor. Been a long night for the righty from Maryland. The 0-2, Langworthy was headed towards the dugout. He gets some applause and more hoots and hollers from the bullpen. He thought he had him looking for strike 3. Again, a big looping break on that pitch from Langworthy. The 1-2, fastball low. Count even. Crowd clearing out here at Gov Fuller Field. They'll be back home tomorrow night against Cotuit. This one obliterated. Same thing, over the left field wall, 2-run blast. 12-6.
I mean, they brought him in to face a bunch of righties in the middle of the lineup, and he's a guy who throws softly and kind of lobs pitches over the middle of the plate. Langworthy, not really, it doesn't look like he's trying his best to really hit those spots too well. He's kind of just getting up there and throwing as he would during soft toss or something like that. And it's showing because, again, this righty-heavy lineup is unloading.
3 runs on 3 hits in this half inning for the Whitecaps. We got a 12-6 ball game in the top of the 8th inning. Commodores will bat at least once more. as Christian Molfetta will pinch hit for Kurt Wilson. That pitch goes behind him.
It's evident that Austin hasn't pitched in a little while.
Christian Molfetta, a rising redshirt senior at Stanford. He has been in college for forever. Well, think about this. Ready for this stat? Last summer he was in Brewster, 267 average, 24 games played. He played on the Cape in the summer of 2016.
All right, that's pretty amazing.
The 2-0 is fouled back behind the press box. He was on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Went 1 for 6. Then had a couple summers where he was not on the Cape. Returned to the Cape in 2018, back in 2019. So third summer on the Cape in the span of 4 years.
Where were you in the summer of 2016?
I had just graduated high school.
You're not yet enrolled in college.
I was working at a public golf course in Weston, Massachusetts.
That got oddly specific.
As the 3-1 is inside and hits Molfetta. So he will head down to first base. Where were you in the summer of 2016?
I had just recently graduated high school.
Yep.
I was working at a mini golf course. So we had some pretty similar
Similar
2016s.
jobs. Similar jobs.
But we were not on the Cape. And
we were not on the Cape. I barely made it down to the Cape that summer. Sad. Bliss is up. He fouls back the first pitch he sees, 0-1.
last time I had been to the Cape before last year was, I think, when I was like 6.
What town did you visit again?
Orleans.
This is a gap shot into deep right center field. Backtracking, left center field. Backtracking is Maisel. He picks it up at the wall. Coming around is Molfetta, who limps into home plate. He looks a little bit shaken up, perhaps by the hit by pitch. It's another run scored for the Whitecaps, 12-7.
I mean, they're just getting a lot of meatballs right down the middle. Langworthy, like we mentioned, doesn't pitch a lot and hasn't gotten too many appearances recently, so it's clearly showing that, you know, he's got some rust that he's got to shake off.
Landry might say enough is enough here to Austin Langworthy. He comes out to the mound. That slow stroll of the 8th-year pitching coach for Falmouth. Infield will also meet on the bump. No signal to the bullpen yet. There it is.
Lest this 3-hour game not have some more hijinks.
They're going to go to the lefty and Robbie Ahlstrom. Ahlstrom, lefty from Oregon, rising junior. Grew up in North Eugene, went to North Eugene High School. Had a 5-7 record his sophomore year, 73 1/3 innings pitched. Year before that, he was at Chemaquita College, JUCO, 2.55 ERA and a 4-3 record.
He got off to a pretty tough start on the Cape this summer. First appearance in the 7-1 loss against Harwich, allowed 3 earned runs, 4 runs total over 2 innings of work, 3 hits and a walk. And then against YD in an 8-4 loss, a third of an inning, he could only get that one out. He allowed a hit and an earned run. But then against Bourne, he really bounced back, and he had a day to remember. 3-0 win, and he was integral to winning that game. He didn't get a win, he didn't get a save, but maybe an extended hold, because 3-0, he came in the 7th inning and threw shutdown 7th and 8th innings, allowed only 1 hit, struck out 2. Nobody crossed home plate, so Ahlstrom looked like he was starting to get his groove. Now he's got another chance in a game that has become suddenly pretty close. I mean, still 5 runs, but if it wasn't such a big blowout before, 5 runs wouldn't be anything to scoff at. So Ahlstrom getting another chance in a closer game than expected.
Ahlstrom will finish off his warm-up pitches. Austin Langworthy attributed with 4 earned runs and 2/3 of an inning of work, and he's also responsible for Bliss, who had a 2-out double.
You're right, they should have pulled him after the first batter. He went from potentially finishing with the best ERA on the Cape and the best pitcher on the Cape to now potentially being the worst pitcher on the Cape if you have just 1 outing and 4 runs tagged against you.
He struck out the cleanup man in TJ Collette on just 4 pitches. Then Eric Fago had a blast over the wall in left field, solo shot. Gage Workman grounded out. Tyler Hardman singled. Justin Vogt had a home run. And then Malfetto was hit by a pitch, came around to score on the RBI double from Ryan Bliss. This has been an entertaining game, to put it lightly.
Like I said, I mean, it's just, I feel like hijinks is the right word. There's been a lot going on in a lot of different facets. I mean, obviously Falmouth's offense is a thing to remember. Austin Langworthy pitching is something to remember. The way the offense has bounced back from previous games. Start put together by Chris Gonzalez. There have been so many things that you can point to that are unique about this one.
Ahlstrom delivers a fastball on the outside black, 0-1. Lefty pitching from the stretch, kicks and delivers, high and away, 1-1. Brett Auerbach up at the plate for the 5th time tonight. 3 singles, a run scored, and a ground out. The 1-1 from Ahlstrom. Takes an extra beat and delivers. This one lofted towards the fans and the Falmouth bullpen, which is now empty. Did we see Austin throwing in the bullpen?
I mean, we were both surprised.
So I don't think he did because he came in the previous half inning and got an AB at the plate.
Oh. No,
that was Kevin Kendall. Yeah, that's right. He was probably.
But we didn't see him because then he came out and he was warming up in between innings, and we were flabbergasted.
Right.
So I mean, we didn't catch him at least.
The 1-2. A look back to Bliss at second, kicks and delivers. This one's skied. It'll stay in the infield. Moretto is there, and he makes the catch. Whitecaps add 4 thanks to a couple of long bombs and 4 hits from Brewster. We head to the bottom of the 8th inning. It is 12-7 Commodores on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1994, holds over 1,000 events nationwide for players in both high school and middle school, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, with thousands drafted and more than 500 who have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
We are approaching hour 3 of this game. We will get past the 3-hour mark. We will have a new record, at least for the Falmouth Commodores and the Brewster Whitecaps, for longest game of the season. Let's take a look at what happened around the Cape. Danny, let me hop in the passenger seat of your car, and you will drive me from Cotuit to Yarmouth Dennis.
Hop in my whip and we'll drive around. Well, we'll start at Cotuit. They played the Bourne Braves in division game in the West, and Cotuit won 4-1. The Kettleers undefeated in the month of July, and they stay red hot. They are still leading the Western Division, and they are just dominating. We'll head out to Yarmouth Dennis, where the second-place Wareham Gatemen in the West faced off against YD. YD won 3-1 over the Gatemen, so doing Falmouth some favors. Out in Harwich, it's Chatham versus Harwich. They're in the top of the 8th. The Anglers leading 3-2. They are on a hot streak, have won a couple games in a row. They beat YD last night 15-1, so they've got the doors beat right now in both runs scored and deficit.
Yeah.
So Chatham looking to win a much lower scoring game and a closer game in Harwich. And then bottom of the 6th in Orleans, as ever, the Hyannis Harbor Hawks trail the Orleans Firebirds 7-2. Hyannis just can't get anything going. except when they're at Gov Fuller Field. Of course.
Commodores winless against Hyannis. They have a 0-1-1 record against the Harbor Hawks, who now have 3 wins on the year, 12 losses, and 1 tie. We got a 3-2 count right now to Barron Radcliffe. So
they're on their way to another loss.
They're on their way to 3-13-1. Is that good? That's not good, right? Chopper over to Bliss. Got there in a hurry. Nice play by the second baseman, who shuffles it on to first. So with the win for Katuitt and the loss for Wareham, Kettleers atop the West Division at 9-7-2. They got 20 points. With a win tonight, the Falmouth Commodores would move back into third. They and Bourne have been leapfrogging one another for third place in the Western Division.
Bourne is 6-10. Jeez.
Bourne is 6-10.
All those games played, though, helps them out.
And perhaps will help out the Commodores when they start to catch up those games. Yeah. Swinging and missing is Taylor Smith. So the Commodores will move ahead of Bourne with 2 less games played. The 0-1 from Alford. Sliced back, 0-2.
It's shocking that Katuitt is so close to 500 also, because it seems like every single night when I check Katuitt's Twitter, I check the standings, they've just come off of a win. Maybe they've just been hotter as of late. I mean, they have won back-to-back games, but they're only 5-4-1 in their last 10. So I don't know what it is. For whatever reason, I think Katuitt is just so far ahead of everybody else, but clearly they're not.
0-2 swung on and missed, strike 3. A sneaky solid appearance for the reliever Alstrom, who's out for his 3rd inning of work. He now has 4 Ks, allowed 3 hits, and given up no runs.
Yeah, he's eaten up a lot of time for Brewster. Maybe has earned himself a chance to step into some closer games. I mentioned how the games that he's appeared in typically have been in blowouts in either direction, either for Brewster or against Brewster. Well, he's pitching so well that he might earn him spot if he can do it again in some closer matchups.
Troy Clonch comes in as a pinch hitter. Swings at the first pitch he sees and fouls it back. So some final lines for you. Taylor Smith will now be done, finishing the night 1 for 3. 2 walks, 4 RBIs, all coming by way of the grand slam. A couple strikeouts as well, as Clonch ropes one into left field. Sliding and making the catch is Berryhill. Teammate of Carmen Bajinski at South Carolina gives a fist bump to his bullpen. Last chance for the Whitecaps. They're down 5 as we head to the top of the 9th.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
Robbie Alstrom back out on the bump to try to finish off this game. We have another pinch hitters for the Brewster Whitecaps in Luke Berryhill. Berryhill making the catch out in left field to end the bottom of the 8th inning. We also have some changes. Troy Clonch, traditional catcher, playing left field. Austin Maisel moves to center. Tim Tawa, who was playing center last half inning, moves to second. Kevin Kendall, who was playing second last half inning, moves to short. Taylor Smith stays behind the plate. Berryhill swings and misses. Strike one.
I know everyone in this press box was appalled by Clonch going out to left field. What I think is the most impressive is how Tim Tawa, in not even blowouts, just in any game for Stanford, he goes from center field to shortstop to second base to third base. I mean, he was splitting time between center field and shortstop, the two most important positions in their respective domains of the field. He was splitting time there for Stanford. So he's a guy who can play all over the place. I mean, second base is a very different position than third, where he's traditionally been playing this season. Of course, very different than the outfield, but he goes to all of them. So he's the guy that's kind of like the jack of all trades, I think. Just got to put him on the mound at some point.
Curveball doesn't break, stays way up. Now a 1-2 count to Berryhill. Berryhill, a recent addition to the Brewster Whitecaps, was 3 for 4 in his second game of the summer. That was a 2-1 win against Bourne. That was a crazy game, Danny. Whitecaps won 2-1 as this one is skied on the infield. Alstrom's going to move over. He calls for it himself, almost trips, but makes the catch. One down, but going back to that game, they had 13 hits, did the Whitecaps, and they scored only 2 runs.
Well, I mean, we talk about Falmouth coming into this game with woes with runners in scoring position. Brewster is saying, oh yeah, watch this, basically, with that game.
Still got the win, though,
yeah,
which is maybe the weirdest part.
We've seen some quirky things. I mean, I would be remiss to remind you that teams who commit 5 errors in a single game are 2-0. Falmouth, and I think it was Brewster did it. I think
it was Brewster against
yeah.
Orleans.
Yeah.
Ball 1 misses inside to TJ Collette, who struck out his last time up. That was against Austin Langworthy in the 8th. 2 outs away from win number 6 are the Commodores, and the Whitecaps would fall back to 8-8. And 1, putting them at 500. Commodores again coming up. Couple games against the Kettleers. At home tomorrow with Fox Sports and the World Series trophy in town. On the road on July 4th before we come back to go Fuller Field on Friday for a doubleheader against Chatham. The 1-1 fouled away.
That's the best part. It's not a lot of travel time during 4th of July week. I'm
Yeah.
sure other teams, I haven't looked at other teams' schedules, but, I mean, the closest team to Falmouth and then being at home.
Not bad. Not bad for what is a hellish weekend as far as traffic. This one back up the middle to Alstrom. It goes off his back leg. He tried to find out where it was going to carry him, but picked the wrong side. Collette reaches first with 1 out.
Just such a quirky game continues. I mean, this is so weird how that happens, of course. Why wouldn't it?
Of course.
Now batting, third baseman from Stetson University, number 50.
So now Eric Fago comes back in for his second AB. His first was a solo shot that was crushed over the fence in left field. We've seen 4 home runs tonight. Now, if I told you that and you looked at the scoreboard, you'd say, oh, Falmouth hit 2 or 3 home runs. Wrong. Commodores have hit 1 long bomb. It was a grand slam off the bat of Taylor Smith. The Whitecaps have hit 3. One of them put them in the lead in the first inning off the bat of Marcos Castanon. And then a couple in the 8th off of a position player in Austin Langworthy, who was on the mound. Fago and Vout went yard. 0-2 now the count.
Come on, Brewster. Just hit them in like the 2nd and 3rd inning. Duh.
Well, the thing that I was going to point out a little bit earlier, especially when Falmouth was really piling on the runs in the 5th, keep going back to that home run in the top of the 1st, because when that came off the bat, and when Chris Gonzalez, who had struggled at the mound his last couple outings, swing and a miss, strike 3, that felt very deflating for the Commodores, who were so quiet offensively, had so much trouble putting up runs. Then they just come back and just have this stampede seemingly out of nowhere, take control of the game, and really turn the momentum of this game and possibly the season if they keep it going.
I take you back to what Katie Florio said on her sideline hit with us way back when, after that fourth inning, when she said that basically they're not trying to do too much. They're trying to stay low. I mean, basically like what I refined it to was see ball, hit ball, and not trying to hit for power, but just letting the home runs come and just making contact in the meantime. That type of approach is kind of like a one swing at a time approach. So they see the 3-0 score, and we might think, oh, here we go again, and they think, let's just go up to the plate and do our thing.
Single into left field off the bat of Gage Workman, who breaks his offer. He's 0 for his first 4 with 3 Ks. Now moves to 1 for 5. Puts runners on first and second with 2 outs in the top of the 9th.
Number 42, Tyler Hardman.
Nineteen hits to 14. Sorry, David.
You're good.
But I just noticed that.
No, you're good. 33 hits and 19 runs. It's just insane. First pitch to Tyler Hardman is fouled away. He has 2 singles his last 2 times up in the 6th and 8th. Came in to score on the bomb from Justin Vogt.
I think you, based off of the catch by Gentry early in the game, the catch by Dunn, the home runs we've had, the runs that have been scored, the hits, the plays at the plate, I think you've got enough stuff in here for your entire reel, and you can start applying to jobs just from this one game.
That's such a good point. I was thinking that too because some of those runs, I was like, oh, sweet. We finally get some offense. It can be good for us broadcasters to get some reps, especially after a team that we've been covering has been struggling at the plate. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the employers will think though. They're gonna say, have you called just one game in your entire career? But yeah, I mean this game.
It's had everything.
It's had everything. It's been a marathon, to use your expression.
I mean, it's only like 3 hours, 12 minutes, which is around like the major league average.
Sure.
But the games that we've had so far, especially compared to last night when by 9:12 the lights were off at Go Fuller Field.
Right. 0-2, swung on and missed, strike 3. Squeezed by Taylor Smith, and that is how this game ends. Robbie Ahlstrom comes out in relief and shuts down the Whitecaps in the 8th and 9th. Danny, I'm going to let you decide where we start because we could go in about 15 different directions right now.
Well, let's start with the pitching because I think the offense was definitely the bigger part of the game.
Sure.
And pitching-wise, Chris Gonzalez, we've said it a ton of times, but the first inning allows 3 runs on 3 hits, a 3-run home run, and his body language didn't look good. He was upset. He knew that he was struggling this season. He really wanted to improve, and he does. That first inning aside, he goes and shoves. He allows no runs, only a couple more hits. He comes out of the game in the 5th inning, but I think he had a game that he could be really satisfied with. So Gonzalez bounced back after the first inning, set the Commodores up for some long-term success.
Chris Gonzalez has been absolutely outstanding tonight, especially in those innings 2 through 5 when he was pulled after 1 out in the 5th. He gave up that home run in the first inning, but I go back to that top of the 2nd, struck out the side, battled back from a 3-0 count, and really set the tone for the rest of the game. Danny, moving to the offense, 12 runs, 19 hits. Before we talk about that monstrous 5th inning, I want to talk about innings 1 and 3 specifically, also 4. But the Commodores able to get contact, able to get singles and doubles, and claw back into the game.
Yeah, they chipped away little by little. I mean, even in the 6th, 4 of the runs were scored on one swing of the bat on a grand slam. They were able to chip away little by little. 3 guys stick out to me. That's Jackson Coots, 2 for 5, 2 RBIs, including the RBI double that I think at the time tied the ball game. And Jackson is a guy who doesn't get to play a lot. I mean, he basically is in every 3rd game, switching off at DH or first base with guys like Ross, Radcliffe, Langworthy. So he comes in and he continues to rake as he has hits in every single game except 1. Tyler Ross, I said at the beginning of the game that this was a real chance for him to break out of his offer because he's going up against pitchers who let up a lot of hits. Everybody else was starting to swing better. It was time for him to, and he did. He had 3 hits, 2 of them coming from the left side, 1 a double, 1 of them coming from the right side. So now he has got some confidence. And Austin Maisel, 4 for 5 in only, his 7th game played, and some of those games he's only gotten 1 at bat. He's been like a pinch hitter. He finally gets a start for the first time in what seems like forever, and he just continues to rampage the Cape League pitching. I mean, this guy has been phenomenal, continued it tonight. Really impressed with those 3 because some of them don't play a lot, some of them have been struggling, but they came out full arms out tonight.
So the Commodores were down 3-0 in the top of the first. They then come back and take a 12-3 lead, hold on, and win it 12-7. First matchup of the year was an entertaining one between these two teams. The Whitecaps moved to 8-8-1. The Commodores getting back closer to 500 at 6-7-1. Your winning pitcher, Aiden Maldonado, gets his 2nd win of the summer. Daniel Harper gets his first loss of 2019. That's going to wrap it up here from Gov Fuller Field. For Tony Bianco and our sideline reporter Katie Florio and Danny LaRose, I'm David Korzanowski saying so long and thank you so much for joining us here on YouTube Live. We'll be back tomorrow against Katuitt, 6 p.m. first pitch. Game after that, July 4th at Lowell Park. Thank you so much.